Yes, thank you.
What's wrong, Mabel?
Donating to a pet's medical care is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
If you get a phone call, do not talk to the person.
Never, ever give out your Medicare number. Just hang up.
I check my Medicare statements monthly.
To report Medicare fraud, contact the Senior Medicare Patrol in your state.
Peter, some breaking news. Breaking news, Peter.
I love breaking news.
There's a picture of Christina Staffo. Blanderson Hooper brought it up.
Oh, wow. Stalked her, huh?
No. Blanderson Hooper just tweeted it out.
No, he stalked her.
No, it's not stuck. She's on the air.
It's troll. Oh, there she is. Hello.
Oh, yeah.
And this is current picture, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I understand. Jeez Louise, Papa Cheese.
So imagine 04.
I get it.
Can I join?
Yeah, I get it.
All right, so this is a topic that is kind of a tiptoe topic.
No, listen, just jump in.
Because we certainly don't want to lose our job. But Caitlin Clark, because she was drafted first, and now we see exactly what WNBA players make. A lot of people have come forward and go, WNBA players are the top of their game, and they should make the same thing as NBA players.
Oh, come
now,
on.
the White House even said this.
Well, that's still...
All right, so... And then Caitlin came out and said, I don't think we should make the same as the NBA, but I think we should make as much or more as live golfers because nobody watches that. And what I would tell Caitlin is, if you could get Saudi Arabia to try to sports wash their money by starting a women's basketball league, you absolutely would make that money. So Liv doesn't make any money. They're getting paid so that their money looks better and their country looks better by paying these golfers to play in their league. Now, you can also blame the people that negotiated the CBA for the WNBA because NBA players, with their cap, they make 50% of the revenue that NBA teams bring in. 50%. You know what the percentage is for WNBA players? 10%. They get 10%. So should they be getting more? Yes. But for anybody to say, just because you're at the top of the game, well, what if somebody's at the top of the games in tiddlywinks? Should they make the same as the top baseball players? You make what you bring in, and the WNBA does not have the same television revenues as the NBA.
Listen, I'm not going to throw tiddlywinks out there, but what I will relate it apples to apples. And that is, I don't think there is a better player at what they do in the four major sports than Connor McDavid is in hockey.
And what does he make?
Not anywhere near
like $9 million,
LeBron
right?
James. He makes probably about a little over $9 million a year. Now it's a cap sport, but even if it wasn't a cap sport, he makes a lot of money in relation to the television contracts and everything that the NHL can bring in, but it doesn't bring in what baseball, football, and basketball bring in, so he doesn't make as much money as LeBron James does, or doesn't make as much money as Aaron Judge does, or doesn't make as much money as even Daniel Jones does, because it's all relatable to how much your sport brings in. So if the WNBA, with Caitlin Clark at the helm, starts to demand those kind of ticket prices and starts to demand those types of television and radio contracts, and they start selling jerseys and they start making tons of money, then 100% she should be making as much, if not more, than the NBA players. But until that kind of revenue comes in, it's not even on the table, and it has nothing to do with being sexist. It has everything to do with what does your sport generate.
Now, if you want a legitimate argument, actresses should make as much as actors in movies.
Yes.
Because the movies are bringing in big money. Why are they not getting paid the same as Leonardo DiCaprio? But the WNBA players should not be making what NBA players make because they don't make the same money. They don't get the same television contract. What am I missing? I don't want to seem like I'm misogynistic. I'm certainly not. I have a daughter. I want her to do well. But you choose the business you go into, and then you can't very well expect to make the same amount of money as the men do in the NBA who make more money.
Can I try to...
Please try.
Add a little here, too. I'm going to add a little bit of... sprinkle a little seasoning on it all. So you have every right to be upset about it, because when you hear the amount Caitlin Clark is going to get paid, her salary, it is upsetting to hear. You go, what? That's insane, because it puts a face on something it's a little more tangible for people, even though this has been an issue forever. And one of the problems we have as society is everybody hears someone talk about a subject. Everyone feels the need to weigh in immediately, even if they just found out about it and they have no background or any idea what they're talking about. So that is frustrating. But sexism is at play here. It's just not the league. The sexism is that we as a society don't go out and support the league. So if you want to be upset that people aren't interested in the game, you have the right to be upset about that.
But so you think it's pure sexism that the WNBA is not as popular as the NBA?
Yes, of course. That's why women's sports not as popular. Yeah, I don't think people think they're good. I think women don't think they're as good. I think men don't. We've been trained to believe that.
Doesn't want to. I mean, because I'm sure there are more women that go to NBA games than WNBA games.
Because they're also we all live in the same place. We're all part of the same world. I mean, this is since the dawn of time. We're fighting an uphill battle here, guys. So now all of a sudden, Caitlin Clark comes along. She garners the attention of the whole world. It's fascinating, and maybe she will be the person who changes it. But do you guys have close friends who pay money to go out and support the WNBA?
But then what would be behind the NHL being behind the NBA or Major League Baseball being behind the NFL? I mean, there's some things are more popular than others.
It's a different sport, though. People don't. Hockey's not an American game. It's not even the same sport.
But all right. Then the UFL is that garnering the television contract or even remotely close to the NFL? It's football.
Listen, if you want to,
there are guys trying to make it to the NFL.
But this is a pointless argument. You may not agree with me that that's the reason. You may think the reason is people just don't enjoy the game. I don't believe that. I think people are trained.
But the game is different.
I hear that. So fine, even if you believe it's not related to sexism, and I believe it does, there's no point in arguing that.
Listen, I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't have something to do with it.
But my point is,
there was a time where women's tennis and with Serena Williams was out there. I'm sure she was commanding as much money as there were probably some male tennis players, and there were probably times that the women did better ratings than the men. I'm sure that happened.
Well, I mean, it did get to the point that
command more money. I don't know.
They were getting the same prize money in the majors as the men. And you know what? They were drawing just bigger crowds. And whatever the reasons why...
the problem then is, if you're going to bring up tennis, the problem is then, of course, Serena Williams, who was the dominant player, wasn't making as much money as in endorsements as the white players who were a fifth as good as she was.
No, I think at the end she was, or end of her career she was.
Well, no. Yeah, but you remember the years I was talking about when she was not the person.
And I'm
but
sure
again, these are
sexism
separate
has
issues.
something to do with that. Maybe racism as well. But I'm saying is that...
That's not the reason they're not getting paid, though. The reason they're not getting paid is because the NBA, this is a loss for them. Most of these teams, I have to guess, the Liberty make money, right? Some of the Aces probably make money. Were the Fever making money?
I don't even know if the Liberty makes money. And also, Peter, though.
No, but the Liberty sells a lot of tickets.
This is how somebody could change the game and the narrative. Front row tickets for the upcoming Indiana Fever season, they are more expensive than the Indiana Pacers front row seats for the playoffs.
So then it could change because now the economics have
I looked up the tickets. It's very expensive. Michael, I think if you wanted to go see Caitlin Clark in a front row seat in Indiana next year, you're talking about the resale value I saw, Michael, about $2,000 a ticket. Imagine what the prices were. I wish we could go back and look to go to an Indiana Fever game front row last year. So maybe this will be the moment that it changes. But Jacob just said the NBA loses, all said and done, around $10 million a year to subsidize the WNBA. Don and I can disagree or agree on the reason people don't support it. But the bottom line is the reason Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and everybody else, and Sabrina Ionescu and everybody else are not making the money they should make, it's not because the NBA is sexist. It's because people don't go out, buy the jerseys, buy the tickets, watch the games. Michael, what was the TV deal? They were a throw-in on the TV deal.
Absolutely, it's a throw-in. Right. That's why I'm just amazed that even the White House would chime in. They should make the same as the NBA. No, they shouldn't. They don't generate the same revenue as the NBA.
And the way more glaring, if you want to get upset about the WNBA, NBA thing, the one that was way more glaring was the women's national team. That was the one where you might go, how could that be when this team was so dominant and the men's team stinks? But even that, it was the same thing. People don't turn on the TV to watch the women's national team the way they watch the men's national team. It's just how it is. Even though the men's team is garbage and the women's team was one of the great international sports teams of all time, and the women were making significantly less. To me, there's a more legitimate anger to be had there, because how could that be when they were so much better a team?
And you know what, though, Peter? If Ryan Ruocco, when the WNBA season starts, is getting audiences to hear his voice of over 10 million, then they're going to have to get bigger TV rights.
Then it's going to have to change.
Right. And this could be the time.
But like I said, you saw women's tennis rise above because it was more entertaining. I don't think people are not watching the WNBA because it involves women. They just don't feel that the quality of basketball is worth watching. Now, that can obviously change with Caitlin Clark's going there and scoring 50 a game. We saw it happen on the college women's level. They were never getting right. They got better ratings than the men. They were more interesting than the men. And if that continues to happen, now it's asking a lot to compare it to the NBA, because the one thing that we're not talking about that puts the WNBA in a disadvantage is the league started in 1997. You're going up against established leagues that have been around 100 years, so you're still an upstart. So you don't have the fan bases. You don't have the tradition. There's a lot that goes into it. It's moments like Caitlin Clark joining the WNBA that can be a part of its history and how it grows. So it would be unfair to look at any league that started in 1997 and compare it to sports that started at the turn of the century.
Well, the NBA began in 1947, so they got a head start.
Man, they got a 54-year head start. You don't think that's going to be an advantage?
It's relevant. That is very relevant.
So there's a lot of things to come into play. But over the history, whether it was how the NBA grew when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson came in, or how the NHL grew after Wayne Gretzky came in, or when Wayne Gretzky got traded to L.A., or when Jackie Robinson joined Major League Baseball, maybe Caitlin Clark joining the WNBA will be that step in history that 50 years from now we'll look back and go, boy, look where the WNBA is. That's the turning point. That's the moment.
And remember one thing. What Caitlin Clark is going to be paid this year is ridiculous. It's $74,000. But she just signed a $20 million shoe deal with Nike. She's going to be fine.
Oh, yeah. No one's worried about her.
But just because Caitlin Clark's going to get her bag, all the other young ladies aren't either.
But that's the thing.
Right.
The much more of that league is filled with people who don't have other opportunities and have to play year-round.
This is what happened. If you remember... Peter doesn't remember. Michael, you probably weren't interested. When Bobby Hull went to the WHA, he made $2 million to join the Winnipeg Jets. He asked for $2 million because he figured they'd say no, and they actually said yes. The rest of the teams subsidized the salary for Bobby because they knew it would help the league if he joined it. You think that maybe the WNBA, some of the teams should be kicking in to help her salary if she didn't want to come here, to help, because that would grow everybody.
There are ways around this, because that's what they're doing in soccer with Messi. I mean, he got a piece of the Apple deal, the whole deal. So, I mean, there's ways to circumvent caps and stuff like that to bring in a singular force that's going to change the way people look at women's sports. If WNBA games with Caitlin Clark at 10 million viewers, it's going to be a different story. Right now, they cannot make the same as the NBA simply because they don't generate the revenue of the NBA. And what Peter's saying, why that is, that's for anybody to say.
And let me be clear. I just want to say one of the things. I saw people, pun intended, getting their panties in a bunch when I use the word sexism. It freaks people out. I'm not trying to say that every time one of us consciously makes a decision to not watch a WNBA game, it's because we're sexist. Calm down. What I'm simply suggesting is we live in the society that we live in which women's sports started out so behind the eight ball. We literally grew up in a time, guys, where the phrase, come on, are any of us going to sit here and lie? The phrase was literally throw like a girl. You cannot remove thousands of years of programming hear me out, in 5 minutes. So when people get upset when I say that word, they make it sound like I'm calling them a sexist if they don't feel like watching a Liberty game. That's not what I'm saying. Yes, the game is different, Don. I understand that. The players play a different game. They don't dunk as much, not as fast, whatever it may be. But what I'm saying is to pretend as if a factor in all of this isn't the fact that we haven't respected women's athletes throughout history.
No, it's a factor, but there's other examples. Like you just brought up Messi, the MLS. We know how popular soccer is in this world and how popular it is in this country. If Liverpool ever came to the friendly or Manchester United came here. But why is MLS so far behind? Because there people look at it and go, that's not the soccer that I love. That's not as good as European
real
soccer. And there's men playing in that, and they've gained traction and they've grown, but they're not as big as soccer is. It's still not close to the other four major sports.
No, and MLS isn't close to what any of the other leagues are. So I look at the WNBA and the same. They kind of came in at the same time. You're trying to make a name yourself where you've already got four sports already established, and there are other people, in this case men in basketball or men in soccer, that play it at a higher level that I'm just more interested in watching. So that's probably, to me, that's a bigger reason than sexist. But I'm not arguing that I'm sure it's just built in
the DNA of I'm going to discard that because a woman's playing.
Totally fair. That's a completely. I'm not going to stand on principle. It's completely true. So I'm just saying it's all in there as a factor. The interesting thing will be, though, is to see how much trickle down there is from Caitlin Clark and do people then start appreciating other players. Now, the timing is interesting. Remember, it's not just Caitlin Clark. It's not just Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese with their sort of rivalry that started a year ago. Michael, I said earlier in the week, and I stand by this, I like them ending up in Indiana and Chicago, right? I think that could be a cool piece for them. But remember, the whole Sabrina versus Steph thing in the All-Star Weekend this past, there has been something going on momentum-wise with women's basketball where maybe we're hitting critical mass and they're going to have their growth period. When I was growing up, women's boxing was, I'm not saying it was silly, but like Layla Ali, for example, was a big star because obviously it was Muhammad Ali's daughter. She wasn't doing things on the level that now you're seeing from Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. It's a completely different operation. No one would have thought Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm and all these other stars were going to come in women's fighting where people would pay money to see women fight. So at some point, you can reach critical mass because of a star. In the case of MMA, Ronda Rousey, and maybe in the case of women's basketball because of Caitlin Clark.
It's fascinating. It just bothers me when people that are not educated on the finances of the sports just like blurt stuff out that they should be making the same as LeBron. No. And that has nothing to do with sexism or misogyny or anything. They shouldn't be, and they will if they start generating the same revenue. That's how the world works. That's how the world works. Oh, somebody tweeted and said, I'm sorry, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep, well, whatever, the greatest actresses, they don't get the same money because they don't pull in the same box office as The Rock and Leonardo DiCaprio. Well, if Meryl Streep's in the same movie as Leonardo DiCaprio, who do you know is pulling the box office? Why shouldn't they make the same? But here, the WNBA is not generating the same revenue, not even close, than the NBA. They're just not.
Well, and again,
blame the people who negotiated the CBA, Peter, to get 10% of the revenue. Shame on them.
Well, but I'm sure that Taylor Swift is raking in more money than a lot of male artists.
Absolutely,
probably all of them.
There's no one doing better than Taylor Swift. But I would push back to the person who tried to make that Hollywood argument with you, Michael. Right back to the point I was making about sexism that's built in. Why isn't there a female Rock? There's never been a female Rock. Is it because there's never been a strong, attractive, good acting, heroic woman? No, they don't make movies for women like that very often. You get Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman once every 15, 20 years. So all of those things, it's still a factor.
Let's go to Jimmy in Massapequa. Jimmy.
Hey, gentlemen, how you doing?
Good.
Michael, huge fan, love you. I want to agree with you 100%. I don't agree that it's sexism because I just think it's lesser of a product. You don't see women dunking and posterizing dudes, and also when it comes to children growing up watching sports, little girls, a lot of them are in dance, a lot of them are in cheerleading. How many little girls are playing basketball? Little boys that we're going to watch the boy sports. That's really just where I stand on it, and I completely agree with you.
But Jimmy,
I don't know
little
about the
girls
lesser
are starting
product
to play basketball because of people like Angel Reese and because of Caitlin Clark. That it's a slow roll. It really is. And I never I watched some women's basketball. I didn't love the product like 5 years ago. I told these guys, I said on the air,
we all did.
The college games that we saw that drew 20 million viewers are closer to the old NBA with passing, seeing the floor. I enjoyed it tremendously. So I will watch the WNBA now.
But you know what's going to help? Like the caller sounded old school about posterizing and dunks. Is that really what the WNBA is about now? Or is it guys taking logo threes? Well, guess what? Caitlin can do that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
You know, so maybe the game is kind of trending towards, hey, they can do it too. Because all they're doing is raining threes. Well, Caitlin and a lot of these women can do the same thing. So the whole idea of the big center, the shot blocks, the Dikembe Mutombos, the big, huge dunks, is that really what's selling the NBA right now? Or is it Steph Curry or Dame Lillard hitting a three from half court?
Let's go to Matthew in Brooklyn. Matthew.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm okay. I just want to touch on one thing from the last caller. I kind of agree with him. The product of the WNBA will never be the same because of the fact that the men can play above the rim. Now, number two, about the Knicks. The Knicks and when
Sixers.
You were saying Vegas disrespects them. Mm-hmm. It's not that they disrespect them. You got to understand something. In the NBA, it's the best players, the top of the upper echelon. Those are the teams that make and win make finals.
So, Matthew, you don't think Brunson's that guy?
No, he's not. He's not. Come on, he's 6'2". How can it?
Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was short of that. He was a superstar. Steph Curry's short of that.
He never won nothing. You never. Steph Curry's team.
Well, maybe Jalen Brunson. By the way, Matthew, all due respect, the last 15 games of the year, it was averaging like 38 points a game. Now we keep saying they need a superstar. They've got a superstar. They need another superstar. You can't say Jalen Brunson's not a superstar. He is.
They have found he wasn't the one you thought you were getting, but you got one.
Right. He's not your typical father's superstar, guy who could jump out of the gym. But you give me 38 points a game down the stretch when the Knicks are trying to get the second seed, you're a superstar. You're a superstar. Embiid's a superstar. He's a different sort of superstar. And Antetokounmpo, a different sort of superstar. Terry Francona's a superstar. He's going to join us in just a moment. Can't wait for that. Spring into gear at Bay Ridge Honda. Your go-to.
Before ClickUp, we were kind of a mess. We had so many different systems that we were using to communicate and share knowledge that you kind of had to code switch every time you were talking to somebody different.
We have distributed teams all across the world. There's a clear time difference there, and I think ClickUp really helps manage all that information regardless of time. We can communicate asynchronously, and so we are able to be very productive using ClickUp.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always, so you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
We have food at home. Now means something deliciously easy with Home Chef. With our quick, energizing breakfast options to enjoy on the go, tasty lunches ready in minutes to help you power through the day, and easy prep, no-mess dinners for busy weeknights. Your favorite place to grab a bite is right at home. Get breakfast, lunch, and dinner delivered to your door by Home Chef. And don't forget dessert. Order now and get 18 free meals and free shipping, plus free dessert for life.
What's one change you would like to make?
Just like every other goal, start with one. 1 rep, 1 mile, 1 workout.
If you're going to make one move, eat more plants and less meat.
To improve the quality of your sleep, go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time.
This is a wonderful place to start.
we have food at home now means something deliciously easy with Home Chef. With our quick, energizing breakfast options to enjoy on the go, tasty lunches ready in minutes to help you power through the day, and easy prep, no-mess dinners for busy weeknights, your favorite place to grab a bite is right at home. Get breakfast, lunch, and dinner delivered to your door by Home Chef. And don't forget dessert. Order now and get 18 free meals and free shipping, plus free dessert for life.
New season, new reasons to say yes.
This is Star Power.
Wow.
Cole dials it up. What a home run for Soto. Aaron Judge crushes one.
Get all the Yankees action. The Yes app.
Wager limits. So I only bet what I can afford, and betting stays fun.
Right.
So what's your system?
What's that?
Your system. What's your system? What is that?
Every bettor has a system. Make FanDuel's responsible gaming tools a key part of yours.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, or Subaru Forester, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Lease an all-wheel drive Tucson for $229 a month, or get 3.79% APR, or up to $2,500 bonus cash. Hurry, offers end soon.
It's easy to stay safe online. Learn more at CISA.gov/secure our world.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. These highlights are brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees.
One thing I want to clean up, the LIV quote that we talked about, that was a fake account that actually got me. The LIV quote didn't happen, but still everything that we just said certainly applies. And you know, what we said about the LIV is also true. If you want women to make money, get Saudi Arabia to sponsor a league, and you're going to make a lot of money. But when it comes down to exactly what you make, it's commensurate to what the league earns and the revenue that it produces. And the WNBA does not produce near the revenue of the NBA.
But to lump this in, and I guess Whoopi Goldberg makes some similar comments, and you say like the White House, women should be paid the same amount as men in normal everyday life. But when you start to get to how much money you generate depends on what your salary is, then all bets are off at that point. So just to have the blanket statement, well, listen, if you're a world-class doctor, you should make the same no matter if you're a man or a woman. But when you're in a business, whether it's the movies, whether it's sports, where you make money based off of how much you generate, well, then it changes considerably. Now, she should be not making that much money, and I have a bet, Michael, that as time goes on, she is going to get well compensated more than anybody else in the WNBA for what she does. But because she's the LeBron James of the WNBA, doesn't mean that they even have that sort of money to pay her commensurate to her abilities now.
Well, you know what? The money that she makes from the WNBA is going to be tipping money for her. She's going to make millions and millions of dollars.
It's the other players that you really. It's really the other players that you have to think about, not the stars.
Guys, if it was about money, she would make more money staying at Iowa.
No, not with everything.
Well, why not?
Because Iowa is a Nike school. She would not have been under the. She wouldn't have the ability to negotiate a separate deal. Now she's getting $20 million. She's under the Iowa deal if she stayed at Iowa.
But what she would have made at Iowa would have been more than what she'd make in the WNBA. Paycheck to paycheck.
All right, let's get to our guest. Third annual Invited Celebrity Classic is a nationally televised PGA Tour Champions competition that features 78 PGA Tour champions and 40 sports and entertainment stars from tomorrow through the 21st at Las Colinas Country Club in Irving, Texas. Live on Golf Channel. All 3 days, PGA Tour champion professionals will play 54 holes of stroke play for a purse of $2 million with the celebrities in a $500,000 competition. One of those celebrities joins us right now. We love this guy. I love this guy. Former manager of the Guardians. That's Terry Francona. He joins us now. Terry, it's Michael, Don, and Peter. How you doing today?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
We're doing great. Are you a good golfer?
No, I'm. I think I have a good personality, and I hope people don't mind being around me. But no, and especially the older I get, no, I'm not as good as I want to be.
Do you enjoy it though? Do you like playing?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And like today, we played a round today with Billy Andrade and the guys. Some of the guys that paid to play, and it was a ball. And I hit one good shot every once in a while.
That's all you
need. It kind of brings me back.
Yeah.
You're not kidding. You hit one and you think, okay, I got it.
Yep.
And then reality sets in.
Now, you're playing in a golf tournament when you usually would be managing a baseball game. You've been doing this your whole life, player and then manager. Are you missing it at all, Terry?
Michael, it's so, I think, what are they, 15, 16 games into the season, so it's not very long yet. I don't know what I'm going to miss. And I'm sure after doing it for, that many years, I'm going to miss something. And my first thing is, the people. I mean, the coaches and the people that you're around every day. And I think that's natural. But I thought this through pretty good. I kind of had a little tug of war with myself last year about, how I was feeling. And then once I made the decision and told my bosses, I felt really good. I felt like a weight had been lifted off me. So I'm not afraid of, like what I don't know, of the future. I'm just kind of looking forward to it, and we'll take it as it comes. And, depending on how much or what I miss, then I'll try to figure it out from there.
How much did the game evolve from the time you started till you finished that made you feel that you had to change with it? Was it difficult to make those adjustments?
Oh boy, it certainly did change. I mean, I remember, back in '97 in Philadelphia, you had a general manager, an assistant general manager, and really that was it. Now, baseball operations, there are so many people, and there's so many people that you're not answering to, but having communications with. It's become really it's a lot. It's a lot. I was fortunate in Cleveland where for 11 years we were really progressive thinking, but they never forgot that people played the game, and they let me be the manager, which I really appreciated, because I don't know if that's necessarily the case everywhere, and I really did appreciate that.
Because of your stature, 2 world championships, you could push back a little bit. But do you look at other managers that don't have that legacy, that can't push back, and do you wonder if you got back in the game and you fell into one of those situations where, here's a lineup that we suggest, how would you handle that?
Well, I wouldn't, and it's not to say that's a bad thing. It's the game is, like you say, the game's evolving, and I think our guys actually liked when I pushed back, as long as there's a reason to push back. I don't want to just be the old guy complaining, because sometimes if you're not willing to change, the game could pass you by. But I don't think I would be comfortable being in a situation like that. It just wouldn't work. I love when somebody has the ability to make me think about something, whether it's outside the box. I love that. But I also know that to be the manager and to do it correctly, you got to make the lineup that you think works and things like that.
I was always dying to ask you, Terry, your managerial career started in Philadelphia, so you had some battles with the Mets, and then, of course, with the Red Sox and the Yankees, and tons of series with the Yankees when you were in Cleveland. What is your impression of the city? Like, when you have that much of a rivalry with a town, now that you look back at it, how do you feel about New York?
I actually loved it. It was funny because, when I'd walk around New York, the fans, the people that did recognize me, they were awesome. Like, they would come up and say, "Hey, man, we hate you, but we respect how you guys played." And I always loved that. And, when you play in New York, you kind of feel like you're the only game in town. Like, you show up and the lights are a little brighter, and the games don't count more, but I think they're more fun, especially for the players. And I always looked forward to that, because it's the biggest stage in the country, and the games were fun. And the Yankees always had good teams, so you're playing against really good players.
So one of the reasons that, one of the main reasons I would think that you got out last year is you weren't feeling great. Are you feeling better? And I'll put this out there. If you start to feel just tremendous like Iron Man, will you manage again?
Michael, I think my days of feeling like Iron Man are well past me. But you make a good point. I mean, I think the grind had kind of grinded me down, and I wasn't feeling good. I was having so many surgeries. In fact, after last year, I had my shoulder replaced. I had a couple hernias fixed. So I think I'm trending in the right direction. It's a lot easier for me to be healthy without the grind of a season. It just was wearing me down. And truth be told, I don't know how I'm going to feel next year. I don't think anybody does. But I set out to retire, and that was kind of my, that's how I feel. And I doubt if I would go back to managing. It would surprise me.
All right, now that you're not managing, is there a manager that you managed against that you enjoyed the give and take, that you, when the game started, you looked across the field and go, I'm in for a good one here?
Well, there's certainly more than one. I mean, Jim Leland is, to me, he's kind of the gold standard. He's a little older than me. When I was younger, like playing in AAA, you'd see Jim was with the Tigers at the time, and just you could see he had, the it factor written all over him. And to this day, I still feel that way. Managed against Joe Torre was a treat. I mean, people didn't want to hear that when you have the Yankees and Red Sox, but Joe and I would always sneak down behind, the clubhouse there and say a quick hello, because people didn't want to see you hugging out on the field. But I always respected him so much. So those are two guys that kind of jump out.
Do you think about the Hall of Fame? Because obviously you're going to make it, but do you think about it?
Never. I know I was a baseball lifer, and I know how fortunate I was. And, a lot of guys don't get a second chance. And, after my 4 years in Philly, didn't go very well. And I was fortunate enough to not only get a second chance, but get a chance where a team was ready to win, because that doesn't happen very often either. So I know down deep how fortunate I was.
Terry, as a guy that played and managed in both leagues, are you sad or have any emotion to seeing how the game has changed now where the leagues aren't different anymore?
No, I really don't. You know what? I really don't. I think, and even if I did, if it's good for the fans, like there's some things that happen in the game that sometimes I'm not particularly thrilled about. But if it's good for the fans, I think we need to suck it up and do it and not complain. And I think this is one thing that the fans have kind of taken to. And so to grow the game, I think we got to do it, whether you like it or not.
I'm wondering, I never asked you this in all the years we've spoken. When you managed Michael Jordan in the minors, did you ever discipline him or get in his face and say, no, that's not the way you do it?
I don't think I ever got in his face. I haven't gotten in too many guys' faces, and I'd have had to get a stepladder. But you were able to – Michael was so coachable, and it shouldn't be surprising because I don't think you can accomplish everything he did in another sport and not be intelligent and coachable and things like that. I mean, you tell him something once, and it got done. And I don't think you have to get in guys' faces that are like that.
If he had stayed with it, could he have played in the big leagues?
You know, I tell people this all the time, and I don't think they believe me. I think if you gave him another 1,000 at-bats, because that's basically 2 more full years, I think he'd have found his way to the major leagues. I honestly believe that. You know, 1, he could fly. 2, I found out quickly, if you ever told Michael the answer is no, he's going to find a way to make the answer be yes. And he just has that factor that, you know, his competitiveness is so off the charts that I think he'd have found a way.
All right, now when you get up in the morning, Terry, obviously you're going to get ready for golf tomorrow, but when you get up in the morning, do you look at the Guardians right away or do you look at all of Major League Baseball?
I look at all. I love. That's one of my fun. Ever since I've been in, you know, I grew up, you know, looking at box scores in the paper. Now you don't necessarily have the paper anymore, but I love looking at, you know, like, you know, not just the scores, but I'll pull up the box scores because I just love looking at them. And I certainly look at the Guardians, but then I look at all the other games too. You know, I look at Tampa because I want to see how Cashie's doing. You know, I look at Kansas City because I want to see how Matt Quattro's doing. You know, the people that you've been around, and because I was with so many damn teams, you kind of get to know everybody. But it's relaxing. You know, if I'm eating breakfast, I love looking at the box scores.
Well, you sound great. I hope you feel as good as you sound, and good luck in the golf as the days move forward. And we thank you for coming on. I always love talking to you.
Oh, Michael, it was so nice to talk to you, and I need every bit of luck you have tomorrow because when that slice comes out, man, it can get awfully nasty out here.
Listen, just turn a little further to the left. You'll be fine.
There,
It'll
Peter,
slice right
Peter,
back.
You completely solved it for Terry.
Guys, if I turn any further, I'll be out of bounds.
Well, enjoy it at least.
Hey, it was great to catch up with you guys.
All right, thank you, Terry.
Take care, Terry.
That's Terry Francona. He might not think about the Hall of Fame, but he's going to the Hall of Fame for sure. All right, we'll take some more phone calls, 1-800-919-3776. But first, Don has a message to tell you about Mazda.
Get tools that bring every angle of your beauty business together. Clients can book online 24/7 for multiple services and multiple staff, so scheduling is simple. And with client notes and stored payments, you can offer seamless checkouts, so clients keep coming back. Run your beauty business with tools that bring everything together. Get started at square.com today. See everything your store can do with tools from Square. Your inventory automatically restocks, so you never run low. Your online store stays open 24/7, so you're always ready to sell. Your payments are processed in seconds, so customers can breeze through checkout. And with one account to manage it all, you've got more time for taking time out. Get your all-in-one retail system by signing up at square.com today. Switch to Square and take charge of your business and your time. Switch to fast setup and even faster checkouts. Switch to making every sale, every way you want, and every way they want too. Switch to one system connecting every tool to every task, even as your business grows. Switch to taking control and taking more free time, whatever that means to you. Make the switch to Square today. Visit square.com to get started.
Away makes luggage and bags that make packing, compressing, cinching, zipping, sliding, and going easier than ever. Away.
Hey. Hey. Rental? Yep. You? Yeah. You know, your shoe's untied.
Oh! Don't let a boxy suit ruin your night. Read from theblackducks.com.
Pulled together?
It's possible to go further than you ever imagined.
Electricity flows through everything. Our movement, our passion, our drive. Can you feel it? Mustang Mach-E. Feel something electric. For a limited time, lease a Mach-E for $399 a month for 36 months and receive a complimentary Ford connected charge station.
Smile, you found it. The feeling of finding psoriasis can't filter out the real you. So go ahead, live unfiltered with the one and only Sotyktu, a once daily pill for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis and the chance at clear or almost clear skin. It's like the feeling of finding you're so ready for your close-up, or finding you don't have to hide your skin, just your background. Once daily Sotyktu was proven better, getting more people clearer skin than the leading pill. Don't take if you're allergic to Sotyktu. Serious reactions can occur. Sotyktu can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB. Serious infections, cancers including lymphoma, muscle problems, and changes in certain labs have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, liver or kidney problems, high triglycerides, or had a vaccine or plan to. Sotyktu is a TYK2 inhibitor. TYK2 is part of the JAK family. It's not known if Sotyktu has the same risks as JAK inhibitors. Find what plaque psoriasis has been hiding. There's only one Sotyktu, so ask for it by name. So clearly you. Sotyktu.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Some of us that his dad kept the gun in his
I have sickle cell. I've had lots and lots of blood transfusions over my lifetime. I'm most grateful that people are willing to go out there and take their time, their blood, and give me new life.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
If you get a phone call, do not talk to the person.
Never, ever give out your Medicare number. Just hang up.
I check my Medicare statements monthly. To report Medicare fraud, contact the Senior Medicare Patrol in your state.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
The most anticipated sporting event of the year. It's the pickleball showdown between Team DPH in Rothenburg and Team Anita Marks and Amani Toomer. It's Sunday. It's May 5th at Pickleball America in Stamford, Connecticut. Pre-game coverage kicks off on ESPN New York at 9 a.m. with a live broadcast hosted by Anita Marks as she sets the stage. Then shortly after the show, the paddles come out for the Pickleball Showdown for the ages. Be there on May 5th to witness this showcase event at Pickleball America in Stamford, Connecticut. Who do you think wins that?
Well, you got to go with the... All right, you got two professional athletes.
Well, Anita used to play professional football.
No, that is true. You're right. But I kind of look at it as you've got a former NHLer, former NFLer, and two talk show hosts, in which one of them is clearly more athletic than the other. Anita is way more athletic than Dave.
Yep.
So if you say Amani and Rick are a wash, then the advantage has to go to Anita, so I would think Anita and Monty. Now, I don't know how they play pickleball. From listening to the morning show, it sounds like that Rick and Dave play. And I think Anita plays. I don't know how much Amani plays, so I don't know their quality of pickleball. But from athleticism, I have to give the edge to Anita and Amani.
Now, the interesting thing is Rothenberg talks up the fact that he was a good tennis player. And I would say that some of those skills are transferable to pickleball.
Were you listening this morning? Because you're back in town.
I was not.
Dude, he was telling a story. He told this story voluntarily. That he went to Stanford to play last week, or last night. He had a pickleball game.
Okay.
With a guy that was chubby. And he was a little deliberate at moving around or whatever.
Okay.
And I guess at some point, Dave said, "Move, you fat."
No.
Wow.
How do you tell? He did that. How do you admit it? How do you tell people that that's what you did? It's not a good story. That doesn't paint you in a good light.
He said that?
Am I wrong? Did anybody else hear it? I heard him say it.
Well, yeah, he's a little odd. Also, he's not exactly Kate Moss, you know.
I knew the next thing. I didn't know if it was going to be Kate Moss or Twiggy.
But you just don't refer to people like that.
That would be like me referring. Wow, you've got a really big head. I mean, I wouldn't do it.
But even if you didn't have a big head,
would you show off about saying it on the air?
You just wouldn't say it to somebody. But the one thing Dave did say that makes it very difficult to prognosticate this is that apparently you can't judge a book by its cover, because it turned out that this guy that he played was good. And then he played a woman that he said was in her 60s, and she was terrific. So maybe it isn't just about athleticism. Maybe the fact that he's got a little tennis in him makes him better than Anita. But if I'm going to bet, I'm going to go with the athlete. And I think they've got more athlete on the Anita Amani side.
It should be unbelievable. It should be very, very strong.
I am looking forward to it. I have to admit that. But he's an animal.
Hey, you're a loser.
Let's go to Danny in Long Island. Danny,
you listen in the morning. Did I get that story right?
Well, Thursday's my 16-hour day, and yes, the player he was playing doubles with was not getting to the net quick enough, and he said, "Do you mind moving your fat bleep up to the net?"
Oh my God,
that's not right.
Now, I am in the pickleball cult, which means we have to talk about it all day long. We discuss pickleball, we play pickleball. It's all about pickleball 24/7. So I can tell you that the court is about half the size of a tennis court, and athleticism is the least of the skill required, because remember, it was made for geriatric people that are on their last leg, and now I go there and I'm playing against a 30-year-old man the other day. I said, "Hey, dude, don't you have like a happy hour to be at? I'm 60 years old. You're spiking the ball off my forehead? Give me a break." So anyway, strictly for a radio bit, I'm looking forward to Dave coming in Monday after a loss. I'm not rooting against him, but to think of the radio possibilities if they get blown out and Dave throws his racket is just fantastic, because Anita plays every day, all day. Amani's taking it more seriously, and Rothenberg is now, no pun intended, rounding into form. He's taking it a little more serious, but he's an animal, so he's likely to lose his mind and just snap.
No, that's what we're rooting for.
It's going to be fantastic, but I'm not going. As far as this Caitlin Clark crisis, everybody's screaming, yelling. President's chimed in. We just started an NHL professional hockey team. There is a player in the NHL Female Hockey League that is the Caitlin Clark of hockey. nobody's complaining that she's not getting paid the same as Mario Lemieux because she has a mask on, no one's who she is. I watched the games. I enjoyed the basketball games because what we had was personalities and people we were rooting for. Coaches were flamboyant. The players were flamboyant. The problem, I believe, with any new sport is that we're locked into what we do. And, like, if you're a New York sports fan, you've got Islanders, Rangers, Knicks, Nets. There's not enough time in the day for me now to – I will watch a game if it's nothing else on. But if I have the option, I'm watching what I'm comfortable with. This is what I do. So it seems like when I look at the list of teams, all these teams exist in markets where there's already an NBA team. I like to see a team where they don't have 5 other professional sports where, if I'm in I don't know what city it would be, like, it's someplace to go. We have college kids around. We don't have a professional team. What kind of attendance we're getting. But we had the NFL in the spring. It didn't work. We have the NFL now. There's other leagues. It's not going to work. It's a circus, little type sports. It's fun to watch, but it's never going to hook up. And I feel that's the same way with basketball because I'll give you a hint. You know who likes to watch men sweat? Women. Go to a Ranger game. Go to a Ranger game, and you will see the best-looking women you've ever seen in your life wearing a Ranger jersey, cursing profusely and banging their heads into the board. That's just the reality of the situation, that women like men's sports as well. Those pants, they fit kind of tight, those football players. My wife seems to notice that. But
Stop. Danny, that's a bridge too far. Because here's the thing. Women are also part of society. So even if women prefer men's sports, it doesn't mean that it's not also because society has taught them that you only like men's sports. People act as if women should be better on the subject than men are. We're all part of the same society.
But we're literally talking about women's professional sports, of the 4 major sports, really existing over the last 25, 26 years. When the WNBA came in 97, I think the WUSA, the Women's Soccer League, but then it folded quickly.
And by the way, that's not a women's version of one of the big 4 sports.
The PWHL just started this season, and it's gaining some traction. And he's right; there's a lot of people that are interested in it. It doesn't have a national television contract, but it's being seen a lot of places. But really, you're going up against behemoths. You're going up against leagues that have existed for 100 years, that are part of our DNA. He's right. I guess the Connecticut Sun didn't have an NBA team, but, the Liberty started in New York, the Fever in Indiana, where there's a Pacer team. So you're being related to a team that's been around forever, that's ingrained in that community, and now you're starting from scratch. That's what it is. It's just trying to cite anything new. It's very difficult.
I know, but Don, I agree, but I just don't want to leave out the part that we can't pretend that women's sports hasn't always been treated down a peg. It has. It has.
So I will revisit this in the 5 o'clock hour. A lot of stuff to talk about. Joe Shane spoke today about whether or not the Giants have buyer's remorse when it comes to Daniel Jones. So all of that coming up. Hey, it's Michael K. I love when I get to talk about...
We just shipped our millionth monthly coffee subscription box. We're sending custom thank you gifts to everyone on our team who helped us get there. I had to call Eric at Custom Ink. Custom Ink has been with us from the beginning, and he makes sure that we get everything we need and even reminds us of our own company milestones. This milestone, though, I get to tell him about. He is every bit as excited as we are and knows great quality products we can customize and send for the gifts. Celebrate all your milestones with custom gear. Get started today at customink.com.
This is The History of Glasses by Warby Parker. A theory of optics emerges in Egypt. Then for a while, not much happens, with glasses at least. A millennium later, the first pair is made near the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It had just started leaning. Glasses exist now. People can see, but they're more expensive than they need to be. So we start Warby Parker. We cut out the middleman to design higher quality eyewear for an actually fair price. Shop it at home, in stores, even virtually. It's the 21st century, not medieval Italy. That's the history of glasses and the future. Come see at warbyparker.com.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver.
grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always. So you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
Hey, I'm Ray's procrastination. You know, he'd want to take care of stuff, especially around the house. And I'm like, nice try, man. But then he started using Thumbtack. And now he's got planning tools to make it easy to get projects done. Even easier than not doing anything at all. Totally harsh, man.
Procrastination doesn't live here. You do. Take care of your home with Thumbtack. Download the app today.
Put it on the rest. Put it on the rest. Put it on the rest.
Never read a line of poetry, I'm not a poet, but I sit up in the back of my buttons cause I'm fresh. Never read a book on how to rip it, I just know it, I don't need your explanation cause I'm better than the rest. Better than the rest. Better than the rest. Let me take you for a ride. I can make you feel alive.
Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
All new Subway wraps are packed with delicious ingredients and a pillowy lavash wrap. Finally, a refreshing lunch that tastes amazing.
Perfect for pro athletes like me, right?
Can I finish? Buy one wrap, get 50% off in the Subway app today.
Sarah, you've got this, okay? But they lost.
Not really. Not where it counts.
Welcome back to the show. It's been a lively 2 hours so far. We'll finish it up strong with a good hour and a half for a couple of weeks, and he might have all off-season to recover because if the Bulls beat the Heat tomorrow, well, they're out. The Heat are out, and the Bulls will then face the Boston Celtics. But we're more concerned about the matchup between the Knicks and the 76ers. The Knicks beat them 3 out of 4 times during the regular season. Now, after the game, Nick Nurse, the coach of the Sixers, was asked about his thoughts on the Knicks.
I think they're for real. I think they're really good. I think they're fast. I think they can shoot. I think they hit the glass. I think they guard you. I think they've earned that seed. They've played really well and beaten a lot of good teams. So we'll have our work to do here in the next couple of days to get ready for them.
Let's hear from Tyrese Maxey. What do you make of the Knicks?
Right, they're tough, and like you said, they start at the head of the snake at Jalen Brunson. We got to find ways to slow him down, but thankfully we got a few people that we can kind of throw at him. We got Joel down there protecting us, but they're an extremely grimy team. Like they play hard, they're physical, they're tough, and that's their identity. So for us to go in there and try to get W's and try to win this series, we have to match that, and not just match it, but we have to overcome that and be better than that, and be extremely physical as well. So I think we know what we have to do. They kicked our tail in the regular season, so it's time to go in there and fight.
All right, so Kelly Oubre, who I never told you this, Peter. I think he's one of the more handsome players in the NBA.
I don't know if I heard that about Oubre. You're a big Oubre guy.
I actually play through the tats, too. Just a really good-looking guy. And here's what he said about the Knicks matchup.
I don't think of them. I'll think of them when we go to practice and then getting ready for these games. But at the end of the day, they're a great team. JB is a great player, but at the end of the day, it's going to be Philadelphia versus New York, right? So, we just got to come ready to play and, stop them.
And finally, the guy who had such a big game yesterday, here's Nicholas Batum.
They got our number this year. No, they came in twice in this place and pretty much kick our butt twice. No, that was the weirdest game when we get there, like lowest scoring game in a while. And then again, they beat us in a big march. So, it's going to be interesting. No, they had a great year. No, Brunson is kind of MVP season right now. All those guys around playing great, aggressive. And it's a Garden too, playoff Garden. So it's a different atmosphere. So it's going to be a great series.
I got to tell you what, Don, I think, after you lived through 1988 with the Mets, regular season doesn't mean anything. So they beat them 3 out of 4. A couple of games they didn't have Embiid. So I don't know if you could take anything out of that. I think you have to look at the full scope of the season. The Knicks have been a grinding, tough-minded, hustling team, and the Sixers have waited for Embiid to get back. And how much of Embiid do they have? Do they have 80%? Do they have 70%? He didn't even look 70 yesterday, but they ended up winning nonetheless. But 3 out of 4, I think it means nothing in prognosticating a series.
And just for people that might not remember, in '88, the Mets won 10 of 11 regular season games against the Dodgers and then lost to them in 7 games in the league championship series. That Socha home run still haunts me. But the regular season in the NBA, much to Omar's disagreement earlier, is not necessarily a regular season that honors the best teams. We've seen many times teams, because of load management, mail in certain games. And because they don't care where they finish, as long as they get into the playoffs. We saw Miami last year, flirted with disaster, ran all the way to the finals last year. And may end up doing it again, although with Butler out, I doubt it very seriously. But they can still end up going up against the Celtics when it's all said and done. That's why we look at Miami, who will be the 8th seed if they win tomorrow, as a threat. The Philadelphia 76ers, a 7 seed, as a threat. We don't look at the 4 seed in Orlando as a threat. We don't look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, the 5 seed, as a threat. We don't look at the Pacers as a 6 seed as a threat. Why? Because not all the games are equal. Some teams just don't care. But you know who does care? The Knicks. Every single night. No load management. As good as Brunson is, he still averaged over 40 minutes a game, didn't he? How many times did you see him take a day off? How many times did you see him take a second half off in a blowout? You got to love that about him. But I think that's what the nation's looking at when they prognosticate this series and go, are they really a 2 seed, or are they just the one team that actually cared? They're the guy that showed up to the gym with the mouthpiece and the headband and stretching.
You're going back to cable guy.
No, because I think that's it. Like, I thought we were just playing a game, man. What are you doing? You're using my chest to get a dunk. Give me a break. You see, they take it serious, which is I love about the Knicks. And what I hate about the NBA is everything I love about the Knicks. But when you get to the playoffs, everybody's going to be clawing and scratching to try to get theirs, and things will maybe even out a bit.
So many people said the Knicks shouldn't have won on that Sunday, and they should have gotten the 3rd seed. It would have been easier. It might have been, but it doesn't fit their personality. And the same thing with the Lakers. Well, they should have lost that first play-in game and played the second play-in game to win that. Now, that's a gamble. There was no gamble with the Knicks. They were still in the playoffs. But if the Lakers lose the second play-in game, they're out. This way, they're in. But you know what? They've got to face the Nuggets. Okay. You also have one of the greatest players who ever lived.
Well, but
and also, what are you going to do? You got to play.
I love Greeny, and I'm not just saying that to disclaimer the fact that I'm going to eviscerate him. But they should have purposely lost to the Pelicans so they can avoid Denver. So that means now they got to go play another game against the Sacramento Kings, take the risk of not even making the playoffs. Yep. So if they do make it, they're going to take on Oklahoma City. How stupid is that, Michael? Think about it. Now, what Cleveland did, I think, is deplorable. But at the end of the day, I kind of get it. It's a meaningless game. They got the matchup they wanted. We'll see if it works out for them. But if they threw a game and then had another layer just to get to take on the Orlando Magic, we would think they were stupid for doing what they did. And then how would the Kings feel? You talk about how disrespected the Oklahoma City Thunder would feel that the Lakers tanked the game to meet them. Well, how do you think the Sacramento Kings feel? I guess you think you're going to blow us away. How do you can't do that, Michael?
Now, all the Sixers quotes that we played, very respectful of the Knicks, but then there's Paul Reed, who I don't even know, but he's on the Sixers.
There was one of my best friends, Brian Zolo, when I was in freshman in high school, dated a Paula Reed. That's the closest I know to who this individual is.
Well, he was on the Run It Back podcast, and this is what he said about the Knicks.
I feel like we ain't ducking no smoke, but yeah, we wanted the next matchup. Of course, that's the easier team, I guess. But, it's going to be fun. We match up pretty well with them. They got a great guard. We got a great guard. We also got Joel, MVP. So, like you said earlier, he's one of the most unstoppable guys in the league right now. So they're going to have to send triple teams, and he's going to get everybody else involved, I'm sure of it.
If I happen to be Nick Nurse, I mean, you can't yell at players anymore. I'd call him in, and I'd just stare at him for like 15 minutes. And then I'd finally go, well, why did you say that? Anyway, Isaiah Hartenstein was asked about Reed's comments.
I mean, that's his thoughts at the end of the day. I mean, we're focused on what we got to do. I think that's what podcasts kind of do. They just make sure they get you comfortable, and then people just say shit. So at the end of the day, we're focused on us. Whatever comments they have. But we're focused on our team. We're focused on just getting better every day and getting focused for the Sixers.
Why did we even play that sound from Paul Reed? He averages 5.1 point per game.
Well, as a member of the 76ers, and maybe the other guys are.
Jace.
No, but maybe the other guys are more polished, and they're not going to give. Maybe that's how the Sixers feel. What he said.
Yeah, but
maybe he's enough of a nudnik to actually admit what they think.
He averages 13 minutes a game for his career.
13 big minutes.
I'm going to talk to the ball boy.
I mean,
I'm just saying, this is what's so silly. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, you played every star that showed respect. One yo-yo who's lucky to be in a league through mild shade, and we're supposed to freak out. Like, if I was a Hartenstein, I'd be like, I don't know who that guy is. I'm not answering the question.
Yeah, but if you say, I don't know who that guy is, then you're falling into the trap.
But no, I think he'd be honest, because I don't think he knows. Come on. That's somebody that doesn't have much of an impact in the game, trying to make a name for himself. Nurse should bench him, which wouldn't really be hard because you'd have to find him on the bench to sit him.
So, but let me ask you a question. Let's say the Yankees make the playoffs, and they face the Minnesota Twins, which has happened before.
That is true a lot.
And Jahmai Jones is still on the team.
Right? I'm not familiar with his work.
He's one of the 26 players on the team right now.
I'll believe
he exists.
And he says, Twins stink. We're going to destroy them. You don't play it?
You play it, but again, to have it be bulletin board fodder, you'd have to explain who it was first before anybody could read the quote to care. But if you heard Judge and Stanton and Aaron Boone and everybody do nothing but heap praise on the Minnesota Twins, the 26th guy on the roster says something. If I got to explain to you who that is, it doesn't resonate. You would just think, the guy's that's a yo-yo. Who cares? If Judge says it, well, then it means something because you actually know who Aaron Judge is.
I wonder, does that differentiate? Because if it is somebody who doesn't mean anything to the team, do you even believe that's what the team thinks, or it's just what random yo-yo thinks?
You don't know. I mean, somebody who's in the room. Now, obviously, he's a nudnik to say it. Just a thought.
Well, listen, Michael, we've seen they'll put anything up on the bulletin board, but I would have to think that in the scenario that you chose, all the Twins would read it and go, "Who is this guy? Are we being sports pickled here?"
It is interesting though, what Hartenstein said. That's the beauty of podcast. And I'm sure they do it on Cheap Heat, which you get wherever podcasts are sold.
Yeah, thank you so much for mentioning it, Michael. It's doing great, and I appreciate people listening to the podcast.
They lull you to sleep. You know you're not live. It's not a radio. So you think you're talking in anonymity. You don't think it's ever going to get out there. Of course it's going to get out there. People are dumb.
I don't do that with Cheap Heat, but yes, that is done on podcast. I'd be much more popular if I did, but
it does feel like we're in that area, that gray area of podcasts where there are some athletes that go on that don't, they think they're having a private conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would never say that on the radio or a television
because they'd have their guards up in a different way.
But like on a podcast, I don't think they realized that actually way more people could hear it
like this
on a podcast.
For example, people just saying whatever, they don't realize what they're saying.
The misconception about
yeah.
Alex Speltra.
You put it together and you get
the misconception about Speltra.
See, I'm just going to tell you, I just want to go on record. Me being done with Omar has nothing to do with that. I'm just done with Omar's fugazi shtick of let me just get angry for no reason.
This is the part that's still good.
Alex Spelstra.
Who's Alex Spelstra?
But no, I don't want to make fun of his.
That's not his accent.
acumen.
That's just getting it wrong. Oh, sports acumen. You're calling a sports talk show.
No, but come on.
Now, the Rangers have an opponent, too.
What, really?
What's the disconception about them?
No disconception. They're playing Washington, and Tom Thibodeau, Don, has some thoughts about the Rangers.
I love what the Rangers have done. They've had an incredible year, and I just love it. It's great for the city, obviously the Garden, all the New York area fans. They played great hockey all year long. I bump into their coach. Obviously we share the building, but more often than not, when we're here, they're out. But the offseason, we cross paths. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think he's done a great job everywhere he's been. But I like their style. I like their face-offs.
Well, now, the guy he's talking about is Peter Laviolette. Now, Peter Laviolette got the job because the Rangers were eliminated early last year. And he was asked today, have you spoken about the team's playoff exit last year?
Not for a second have we talked about that. So that's last year, and not for me to speak about. This year I can speak about the New York Rangers and our team and our group.
Now, he was also asked, is there added pressure winning that really big yacht race award?
If we had finished 1 point behind the President's Trophy, I don't know if the pressure changes. I don't know if that 1 point of winning or losing that position that you're talking about, I don't know if that necessarily changes. Everybody is going into the playoffs with an expectation to be successful and to win. I think you need to manage that a little bit. But our guys are confident in the games that we've played, how we're ending the season, and how we're entering the playoffs.
And Petey, how do you feel about facing your former team?
Didn't think about it much, to be honest with you. Just thought about our team and getting our group to the playoffs. I've coached a lot of teams. Yeah. I mean, if this is the story, I'll have a story every round, I hope. So, I've coached a lot of teams. I got a lot of respect for the Capitals and their organization, their players. They've obviously done some good things to make the playoffs. Our group's done some good things to make the playoffs, and the game gets decided out on the ice.
I believe that is something that bothers Don. That bothers Don more than anybody.
Oh,
it's just a fake. It's a like me laugh. It's a like me laugh. Please like me. Please, dear God in heaven above. If there's a God up above, please let him like me.
So if you were sitting in that room, you wouldn't say a word. You wouldn't even giggle.
If I found it funny.
Now, BK Style listens to the show, said Reed does play. He's their backup center, plays a lot when Embiid is out. He's actually solid. Fans who watch a lot call him B-Ball Paul.
Well, I don't watch a lot of Sixers, so you got me. I'll take your word for it. I just looked at the stats. He's 25 years old, sounded high during the interview, and averages 13 minutes a game for his career. So that was a joke with Peter like all season. Oh, you're playing Nashville, your old team. You're playing Washington, your old team. Islanders,
and you
your
never
old team.
laughed.
No, because it's not. No, if they say something funny, but I got to be honest with you, not too many players or coaches ever say anything funny, and 90% of the time. But let's be honest, okay? 90% of the time, we hear this raucous laughter. Nothing funny was said. That's why I hate having comedians on the air, because you feel obligated to laugh. I can't fake laugh. If I find it funny, I'll laugh. You've seen me. I'll turn red like a goal was scored. I can't stop laughing. But I just find a lot of it just, dear God in heaven, if there's a God looking down upon me, please let him like me. And that, you shouldn't do that.
Well, you want God to like you.
No, I'm not. No. That's not what I said.
But I'm just saying.
I'm asking God to have the coach or player like me.
Gotcha.
So maybe if I laughed, that coach or player will go, he laughed at my joke or she laughed at my joke. I'm going to give inside information. I'm going to like that individual. Meanwhile, you could be on fire, and they could literally have a bucket of water and would pour it down the sink before they would put you out.
He's in some mood today, Peter.
I'm
Listen, he doesn't mess around.
You know I'm telling the truth.
Saturday's game one.
If I find it funny, I'll laugh.
Saturday's game one, Knicks and the Sixers. You know who's going to be on the mic for ESPN? Mike Breen, Doris Burke, and J.J. Redick. You know how long Mike Breen's been looking to call big games in the playoffs? I'm so happy for him.
That is kind of cool, right?
Yep, very.
Although he will get dragged away from Knicks to do national, which probably...
This is national. This is on ESPN. Are you following us?
No, what I'm saying is he will possibly be dragged away from Knick games to call other national games.
I get it, but now that the Knicks are good and they're a 2 seed, this could be the national game that he's going to call.
I get it, but he's got to call it down the middle.
The guy's one of the great pros of all time. You have to tell him
seen it, but you got to ask him, or the next time we have him on, when they get to the second round and MSG's out and it's all national, he may get put on a series of games in which the Knicks are playing and he's not calling the game. And that
happened last year.
Yeah, and how does it make him feel?
It probably hurts him. Probably cries a little, but he's a pro.
All right, he is. One of the all-time pros.
No, he's as good as it gets. And he's a nice guy, too.
Come on.
And he has a vested interest in this show.
What's the vested interest?
He wants it to do well.
But why? Because he's friends with me?
He loves us.
Because he's friends with you. I think he likes me. I've known him for 30 years. And Peter does text with him on the side, which I would never, would never occur to me to do.
Text Mike, and why are you going there, Peter?
Alex Spokesbro.
I haven't texted him in some time.
Well, don't. You're not that close with him.
You know what?
It's like if I started texting Ballard. How dare you?
You know, I'm going to text him right now.
No.
Mike, excited to get to hear you call.
What a jerk. This
Knicks,
is my friend, not yours.
Knicks playoff action.
Don, it's my friend.
Now, by the way, text sent. Do you think, Michael, are you concerned that I offended the Yankee manager earlier?
How so?
Over text?
You got a little aggressive. Don't
really?
make it public.
I didn't notice that.
I think I can say. Well, hold on. We don't have to go into the details, but he was talking, but just saying that he was talking about how he's a very passionate fan.
Right.
I think you could say what I said.
Right, what did you say?
I said, are you a nut job? Was it nut job?
Yeah, a nutcase or a nut
case.
job.
I said, wow, a nutcase.
And I said, that's a little aggressive.
And what did he say?
I don't remember.
Don, what did he say back to that when he said a little aggressive?
That's when he had the thinking emoji
yes,
with the hand on the chin.
Yeah.
And then you went laugh out loud and then had an emoji of peanuts.
He's a psycho.
I respect it. Now, I let him know that when the Rangers played in the conference final in 2014 against the Canadians, Nancy was in the suite.
Act like a maniac.
Yeah.
Was she screaming up a storm?
Well,
she knows time and place.
But, yeah, she's not much. And I don't think Aaron Boone is going to be sitting there screaming if he's in the suite. He'll be rooting for the Sixers.
But it sounds like he's saying he's so passionate that he's better off alone.
One game, it's first round.
Listen, he sounds like he's one of those guys, which is surprising considering he's a pro. Although if you kind of watch,
have you seen him argue with umpires?
I'm about to say, if you watch Boone's demeanor, considering he can't wait one pitch to start fighting with umpires, maybe Michael, this is right on brand.
I love his fire. I think it's great.
I think honestly, it's his whole
have
thing.
A problem with it?
Tell me if Breen returns your text. 'Cause I don't think he will. I think you're getting too familiar with somebody that you're not that close with.
I hadn't texted him in a long time. It's been 2 years.
So if he hits you back with "who dis," that's not good. New phone?
But
well, yeah, that would be unfortunate.
But who in the suite would have a problem if Aaron Boone was rooting for the
some
Sixers?
Of the people in the suite are detestable.
Was it John D'Agostino going to take a swing at him?
I don't mean
D'Agostino.
I don't mean our advertisers. We love them.
Bite back.
Who? Oh, sales?
By the way, we were warned.
They can't sell anything unless it's Yankee involved.
Let's really
give them a back
lift
rub.
the curtain. We were told in no uncertain terms today, don't go into the suite. Don't sit down.
No,
that's it. You just can't take a seat. That would be rude.
But can I get food?
Yes, they didn't say you couldn't.
No, but the food's for the advertisers. Imagine the afternoon drive show told not to enter the suite.
They didn't say don't enter.
Say that.
No. Hold on, Don. Don't go too far the other way.
No,
it wasn't aggressive.
It was to tell know your place, hack.
To tell the afternoon drive guys, hey, if you're there, mind your P's and Q's.
Well, there's certain hosts you need to tell that to. We are three of the ones you don't have to.
Well, and you almost shouldn't, you know.
But there are the tickets that are given to the clients have designated seats. You don't want to be sitting in one of the seats and having to be told to get up.
But you know what? It would be great for some clients. I'll sit there. They sit on my lap. We talk about the game.
That's something. But we would
by
never
the
do
way,
that.
this has nothing to do with you, Peter. Probably played against it. Mike Green will join us at 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Are you kidding me?
And how about two handsome guys on the air? Henrik Lundqvist at 4:45.
Wow.
No offense to Mike. He's not Hank.
Distant second is what you're saying.
I think even Mike would admit that.
You just like to hurt people, don't you, Don?
Well, how am I hurting?
Everybody
I'm just trying to
strives
state
to
the
be
obvious.
Henrik Lundqvist. They don't want it thrown in their face that they're not.
I don't think Mike Green gets up and looks in the mirror and says, "I'm going to try to look like Henrik Lundqvist."
I get up every day and go, "I wish I looked like Henrik Lundqvist."
Why?
Because I'm
You're a
ugly and
good-looking
he's
man.
handsome.
You've won everywhere you've been.
No, I'm
Why do you now?
I'm no Hank.
No, but
no
Hank,
one is.
Hank's. He was just born that way.
Yeah, well, I want, and his twin was born that way too. Imagine two of those, identical.
Right. That's how it works with identical twins. But you know what? But you go through life. He worked his tail off, and and so have you.
Whatever.
So you work with God.
I would rather be great looking.
Real as opposed to what? Like what would you sacrifice? If I'd say, all right, listen, you can look like Henrik Lundqvist, but you got to give up what?
I'd have to give up the radio show. Since I'm not welcome in the suite, I know where I stand.
Because I give up is strong.
Now, on my computer, Anthony, I don't see any reads. I think I'm having some trouble with my internet.
Well, I'll tell you what.
It's you, isn't it?
It's me.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, baseball fan.
Dynamic air suspension, all-wheel steering, configurable terrain response, effortless in the extreme.
At Care.com, you can find all the help you need. You can find babysitters, and you can find nannies. You can find dog walkers who will step in as your best friend's new best friend, and housekeepers who can get your floors looking great, at least for a little bit. You can find companions and helpers and caregivers, but most importantly, you can find out what it's like to not have to do it all on your own. Find all the care you need at Care.com.
Let's explore your future with Udemy. You can learn how to program and build websites, study design and create logos, improve your presentation skills, and sell your ideas. With Udemy, you can learn practical skills from thousands of online courses taught by real-world experts. Explore your future. Udemy.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Playing in Yankee Stadium is the best thing that could ever happen to a ball player.
It's a huge honor to put this uniform on.
World champions, team of the decade.
There it goes! The Yankees are back on top.
This is the Yankees being the Yankees.
Growing up, I always wanted to do so many things.
I wanted to be a vet.
I wanted to be an actor.
When I was really little, I don't know why, but I wanted to be a pastor. When I was like a small child.
I wanted to be a celebrity by any means necessary.
This is Spike Drop Vegas Heist.
These players are playing for a lot of money today.
I'm only here for 2 feet. I don't really care about any other place.
Can't even comprehend what is going on, but I like it.
Something that feels suspicious, such as an abandoned bag or erratic behavior from a passenger, just call 911. You can call anonymously. and it's okay if it turns out to be nothing. Work together with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to keep our transportation facilities safe. Visit PANYNJ.gov to learn more.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Isn't it absolutely bonkers that you can walk into a store, hand someone a piece of plastic, and they will willingly hand over Reese's cups? Forget flying cars. This is it. We're at the pinnacle. And meet Reese's distant but delicious cousins.
You know, when I take the bike out like this, all my stresses just melt away.
I hear that. This bad boy can fix anything.
Yeah, tough day at work. Nice cruise to sort you right out.
When I'm riding, I'm not even thinking about my painful cavity.
Oh, you shouldn't ignore that.
And every time I get stressed about having to pay my bills, I just hop on the bike, man.
Oh, come on, man. You gotta pay your bills.
You don't have to worry about anything when you're protected by America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
Well, you definitely do. Those things aren't related. So.
Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Break up with your old wings and get a new lemon pepper wing from Popeyes. Crispy, saucy, available. Popeyes finally has wings in 6 flavors.
1 in 6 black men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime, and we're more than twice as likely to die from the disease.
But when it's caught early, it's highly treatable.
For more than 30 years, PCF has funded cutting-edge research, helping patients live longer with fewer complications. Go to pcf.org/knowyourrisk today to learn more about prostate cancer and how you can advocate for yourself.
It's your health. It's your life.
In an election year, our social media feeds can fill up with sensational claims and unfamiliar sources. And in the age of artificial intelligence, it's not hard to make a fake video look like the real deal. With so many tools, tactics, and motivations for spreading false content, we need to be on the lookout for bad actors looking to sway our votes. If you see a damaging post, image, or story about a candidate or issue, make sure to verify whether it's real or not before you share it. Falsehoods spread much faster than facts. Be informed, not misled.
What if you went to your secret hiding place and found this? All drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, know that you can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Since 1968. Let's go to the phones. JR in Manasquan. JR.
Yes, hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. I was the former PR director for the WTA Tour for 15 years.
Okay.
And I was there during all the negotiations. And remember, as you may or may not know, what didn't come easy, all the Grand Slams were not equal prize money. The U.S. Open was the only one. We had to fight to get all the others to give equal prize money.
But they are equal now, right?
Difficult. They are equal now. I believe Australia was second, French was third, and I know Wimbledon was last. But it didn't happen without a lot of work, or without us putting a really good product on the court. You know, it started with Chris, and then Martina, and then Martina really boosted the athleticism of the sport. She was a total serve and volleyer, but then we get away from the serve and volleyers, but we still had really hard-hitting players like Steffi and Monica Seles, Jennifer Capriati, and then the Williams sisters. So it didn't happen easy, you know. By the way, I really think that the basketball players, I can't speak for them, would not appreciate being called young ladies. They'd rather be called women. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, I only said that about the ones that are coming out of college right now, just like I'd say about a college player, young man. So I'm just trying to delineate about the age.
I think you're good.
Is he still there or did he hang up? Because I would like to know with the women's tennis, as big as it is, as great as they are, the money that they generate, why don't they play the same amount of sets as men?
That is an interesting one at this point. I get
the tease in women's golf because there is a different body structure and all that, but they can't play 5 sets. And when you talk about the equal money, you're not playing as many sets as the men. I was just wondering. I would think at this day and age, is that something that needs to be revisited? Because I would think a woman against a woman, why couldn't they play 5 sets?
Let's go to...
Yeah, I don't get it.
Josephine in the Bronx. Josephine.
Hi, first time, long time.
Welcome
I'm
aboard.
a little bit nervous.
Oh, don't
be nervous.
I actually used to have season tickets for the Liberty when they played at the Garden. I got mad when they traded Becky Hammond, so I didn't renew my season tickets. But comparing the WNBA to the NBA at this point, you can't do. The WNBA is just under 30 years old, and if you want to compare it to what the NBA was at around that same time frame, it's a little bit more of a better comparison.
And at 30 years in, Josephine, you'll know, I mean, they were running the NBA Finals on tape delay.
Right.
Right. And now, finally, it is getting better. I mean, look, the Liberty were on, yes, for the last couple of seasons, and a lot of their games were not broadcast live. I understand that it's up against the Yankees or other stuff that's going on. It would be on a tape delay, or you had to watch it on the app. They definitely have more broadcast outlets than they ever had before. I think all of the Liberty games are going to be on live. It's just now I have to figure out, okay, is it going to be on this channel? Is it on that channel? Is it streaming or whatever? Once it is broadcast more evenly or more available and people are out that they can watch it, that is how you are going to get people's opinions to change. They're not going to make the money as the NBA, but they should have some of the same stuff that the NBA does. A lot of the teams are actually affiliated with NBA teams, but they have to travel coach or they have to travel commercial air. They're not allowed to charter jets because all the teams supposedly cannot afford to charter jets.
Right, so there are some teams that are richer and they can charter, and the teams that don't have the money, they can't. So rather than have the rich teams have an advantage, they don't have anybody charter.
Now, I think that's going to slowly begin to change with Caitlin Clark and other stars that come out of college and play in the WNBA, and it will grow because she made the great point. 30 years into the into the NBA, we're talking like late 60s, early 70s. Games on tape delay. Not every game was on television. So it's this. We may look back at Caitlin coming to the WNBA as a major turning point for this league. You'll have to wait and see.
Let's go to John in Frankfurt. John?
Hi, Michael. Great show. You, Don, and Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Watchers every day on Yes.
Thank you.
I got a quick story on John Sterling.
Okay.
I want to tell you what a great guy he is.
All right.
I had taken my daughter, my wife, and my 2 grandsons up to Toronto about 10 years ago to see the Yankees play, and we stood at the same hotel the Yankees were. And we were told before we went into the rooms, don't bother the players if you see them, and we respected it. So we're outside the next morning in front of the hotel, and on one side there was the Yankee players, and there was security guards around them. And the door we were at, here comes John Sterling, David Cohn, and Kenny Singleton. So I recognized him, and I just gave him a quick wave, with my hand and nod. John Sterling walked over to us. And he started talking to us because we had the Yankee gear on, all of it. He said, I see we got Yankee fans here. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Where are you from? We told him we're not that far from Cooperstown. Oh, really great town, So we got talking and everything, and all of a sudden he saw the boys with the baseballs in their hand because they were trying to get autographs.
Right.
And I looked at the baseballs, and I looked at him, and he goes, "What you want us to autograph?" I said, "Oh, it would be great if you'd give them your autograph, John." He takes the ball, he autographs it, hands it to David Cohn. He autographs it, gives it to Kenny Singleton. He autographs it. gave it to the boys. He says, I hope you guys have a great time here. And it was phenomenal.
Well,
now, this Saturday, we're going down to Aaron Judge Day. My grandson gave me tickets for Christmas for Aaron Judge bobblehead night, and now they're doing John Sterling, too. So it's going to be a great...
That's perfect.
Get there, John, get there early, because I believe that the ceremony is about 12:30, maybe a little bit after, but get there early. I want the place to be jammed. It's going to be jammed anyway for the Aaron Judge bobblehead, so don't arrive late. Get there early so you can get through security and give John the love that he deserves, so he can feel it. I know he's been overwhelmed by the positive things that are being said about him, and it means a lot to him. It really does. So that story that gentleman just told him does not surprise me at all. Let's go to Steve in Pearl River. Steve.
Hey, guys, this whole WNBA thing, Michael brought up a point that I was not aware of, that the profit, that 10% of revenues, that was collectively bargained, all right? But I do know this, that those players have permission from the league to go play elsewhere. Now, I know a couple of years ago, Taraji went to Russia, and she made well north of $1 million playing over there. And whatever it was, she sat out the WNBA season because she was too tired, and she made a... But this is the other thing. I'm curious, because when Sabrina came out as the #1 draft pick, okay, while she was lauded, there was no mention of how much or how little money was... And the same thing with the Kelsey Plum.
That's a great point.
It's just because Caitlyn, as lauded as they were, Steve, it's like Caitlyn's become such a bigger national story. Like, you can't even compare it. I mean, my mom knows who Caitlyn Clark is. This has gone to a different place. So I think that's why it got so much attention, that you've been hearing this person's name. Now they're getting drafted. Oh, they're #1 overall. Wait, what's their salary? $300,000. Over 4 years? Like, it just stood out to people so much.
And I think they also, people are trying to put it all together where, ESPN just drew 24 million people. It was on ABC. 24 million people it topped out at for the championship game. 24 million. And they're going, wow, these girls, these young ladies, these women must be making a lot of money. And that's why it became public, and they're not. And blame the collective bargaining agreement where they get only 10%. But even if they got 50%, like what the NBA players get, what would she be making? $300,000 a year? Right? Because she's making 70. So let's round it off and quadruple that. So she'd be making 300. It's still not even minimum wage in the NBA, but it shouldn't be, because the NBA brings in way more revenue, and that's how people get paid.
Well, and remember, the NBA essentially bankrolls the WNBA and doesn't make money doing it. So, listen, the bottom line is, though, this conversation is going to end up being fascinating to look back at, guys, because I truly believe we are going to see a bump, an unprecedented sort of bump in the WNBA next year.
And I hope that's the case. And I hope that they make a lot of money. And they should get their cut if the WNBA has a big bump because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all these great players that are coming out. But at this point, for people, even the White House to say, they should be paid the same as the NBA, it's really dumb to say that. It's not equal. Like, there's a women's hockey league, right, Don?
Yeah, just started this year.
So the best women hockey player is not making what Connor McDavid makes, as you said.
No, because they don't have a television contract, and they're playing in smaller arenas. So they're gonna bring in a certain amount of revenue, and they'll pay accordingly. Now, if it ever becomes the NBA, where they sign a $2 billion television contract and there's 9,000 season ticket holders paying $20,000 for their games, then I think and then if you tell me she's only making $75,000 or whatever, then she's getting rooked. But at some point, if it grows, the money will grow. That's just like any other sport. Like, what are they making in the UFL? Right. Well, they've got a television contract, but it doesn't rake in a lot of money.
Nothing.
They don't have any kind of attendance. So it has nothing to do with their sex. It has everything to do with the fact that right now it's a lower scale, but if it grows, Michael, and becomes a serious competition for for other dollars, then they will get paid accordingly.
Well, from heated seats to built-in Wi-Fi, Bay Ridge Mazda has cars with the premium features you
Hurry up, Agent. Only 20 seconds left.
But which wire should I cut? The red or the blue or the...
Well, it's usually always the blue one.
But there is also a green one and a yellow one.
Oh, there. Red Bull. Behind you. Drink it now.
Of course. Too late.
No Red Bull, no wings.
New season, new reasons to say yes.
This is star power.
Wow.
Cole dials it up. What a home run for Soto. Aaron Judge crushes one.
Get all the Yankees action. The Yes app.
Be there with Ring. Learn more at ring.com.
New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
Yes to in-game live stats. And earn rewards and win prizes. Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions. Telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Of course, the GMC Terrain offers different drive modes. What about Weekend Warrior mode? Or you don't see that everyday mode? How about out of the office mode? Or even...
Are you out of your mind?
Mode. Want a mode for everything? Just announced. Sign and drive. Current eligible GMC lessees can get this ultra-low mileage lease on this 2024 Terrain SLE for around $359 per month with zero due at signing. Sign and drive one home today.
Thank you, buddy.
There are many families that need your help. I'm Mark Wahlberg, and I'm asking you to support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation in their efforts to deliver mortgage-free homes to catastrophically injured service members, Gold Star, and fallen first responders families with young children, as well as eradicating homelessness amongst our veterans.
Everybody knows where the money's going. Every single dollar. God bless you.
Please contribute $11 a month to support their efforts by visiting t2t.org.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
After months of hibernation, it's time to reemerge. Let spring inspire you to start fresh, too, behind the wheel of a new Ford SUV, featuring power that invigorates, capability to venture way off the grid, and tech that helps you forge a new path. It's a big world. Get out there and experience it. Now, returning lessees can get an Escape for just $199 a month for 24 months, only at your local Ford stores.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
Visit linkedbylovetv.org to learn more about kidney disease, transplantation, and prevention. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
Well, maybe that's a different story, but who knows?
Because remember, all right, he backs up Embiid. Let's face it, if Embiid got hurt, Michael, series is over.
Good night, good luck.
Yeah, so that's it.
So Joe Shane, the fine general manager of the New York Giants, spoke today, and he was asked about Daniel Jones, and the first question was, how's Jones doing?
Daniel's doing well. He's running straight line and he's throwing. There haven't been any setbacks, so hopefully, he's on track for training camp. I believe he said that the other day, and that's the plan as long as there's no setbacks.
And he also asked, what are your short and long-term plans with Jones?
Like I said before, the expectation is for him to be our starter. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I hope he doesn't have any setbacks. He's working his tail off. One of the things, you go back and you watch the 2022 season or, all of his throws in 2022, like he was a 25-year-old player that played at a high level, and we won 10 games and we won a playoff game. And I'm still confident in Daniel, the way he's wired, what he showed us in 2022. Did we have the best start to the season last year? Absolutely not. And a lot, anything that could have went wrong, it seems like it did early on between injuries and some other things. So I've still got a lot of confidence in Daniel.
And finally, do you need to add a quarterback in the draft?
I don't think so. I think with, Drew's experience, he started games and played, and, Daniel's experience, and then what Tommy did last year, another year in the system. Tommy's come a long way, so I think we could go in with the season with the three that we have, and, I'd be comfortable with that.
I tell you what, he also was asked about Rich Eisen's report that the Giants have buyer's remorse, and he said it's totally not true. But, what's he going to say? Oh, yeah, we don't. I think it is the greatest example of a waste of time to talk to GMs before the draft. Are they going to tell you the truth? No. So all you have is GMs trying to tap dance around what the real deal is, or sending out false smoke signals.
Right.
They would never tell the truth. So why are they being interviewed? Why do they even agree to be interviewed? Hey, I'll talk all you want after the draft. Well, I'll explain my decision. But you think I'm going to tip my hand and tell you what we're thinking?
Because obviously it's an opportunity for these general managers to throw a smoke screen around the reality of what they're trying to do.
Other GMs know they're lying.
Right, but it just getting it out there and getting the fodder going of, I wonder what they're going to do. They say they like their quarterbacks. Come on. Maybe he does. But, why would he want to? How does it behoove the Giants to say anything of substance? But I'm sure they're obligated to speak. They want to be able to give some information. It's an opportunity to throw support to Daniel Jones, because even if they draft a quarterback, Daniel Jones likely is the starter next season. So I guess it's an opportunity to throw some love at the guys that he has, but none of it is a reality. Gettleman mentioned about Barkley being taken second overall because it didn't matter. He knew the Browns weren't taking Barkley, so he didn't have to throw any smoke screens. He had the pick, so he could be honest. But when you're drafting 6th, possibly trading up to 4, possibly talking to general manager about trading down, if that's even true, why would you tip your hand?
Doesn't make sense. Seems like a complete waste of time. Let's go to Carmine in Englewood. Carmine.
Hey, guys. How you doing this afternoon?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. 2 quick things. One, I think it would be a great idea for them to name the automatic ball or the ball and strike challenge. They should name the whole system the Angel. And then,
Not a bad call.
I like it.
Thank you. With all this score changing and stuff, Anthony pointed out that it's more pertaining to the official scoring of errors and stuff, which I think is a great point and probably answers my question, but he said Mike will have a take on it anyways. Are we ever going to look into this Armando Galarraga thing? I know it's coming up on a decade and a half, but, I mean, the umpire did, like, an apology tour after.
He wrote a book.
There's got to be something to be done. I mean, they can raise Carlos Rodon's ERA a week later. I know it's a week and a decade and a half, and it's not comparable. But, I mean, the outcomes aren't comparable either. Somebody lost a perfect game, and somebody didn't have a hit that deserved one.
Go ahead, Mike. I'll let you.
No, it's a nice thought. It's not going to happen. I mean, if they really want to do the right thing, the guy pitched a perfect game. He should be part of a few that did it, but it was a blown call by Jim Joyce, who admitted he blew the call, and every replay shows you he blew the call. And if it happened during the time when there was replay, he would have a perfect game. So why not just throw him that bone?
Honestly, it's laziness out of Manfred. He has the clause that he can do what's best for baseball. Why couldn't he come out and say, I'm not changing every call, but I can change calls when it's the last play, where it's the right thing to do. Now, he's got a disclaimer it, otherwise everybody would be coming out of the woodwork. What about this call? What about the Don Denkinger call in the 85 World Series? No. Last play of a game where nothing is affected, I'm awarding him the perfect game. Now, it's not really going to do anything. It's a year and a half later, but isn't that the right thing to do? And who would complain?
A year and a half,
Michael?
It's 10 years later.
I mean, right. 10 and a decade and a half. Who would complain?
No one. It'd be the nicest thing to do, and the guy would then join the pantheon of few pitchers that have pitched a perfect game. What would be the harm?
He deserves his due, Michael. He does. Now, if you're going to tell me, well, then go back and change the Johan Santana no-hitter, because clearly that was I get it opens up a Pandora's box.
Yeah, but that was in the middle of a game.
But that's the middle of the game.
If it was the last play,
this is different.
If he explained it and said it's the last, because now if you're going to award a hit, it could change the outcome of the result. There's no result to change other than it's a perfect game. It was the last out. I reserve judgment as the commissioner of Major League Baseball when the last play is in doubt and it doesn't affect the outcome of the game other than awarding we're not changing who won the game. We're going from a one-hitter to a perfect game. No one's affected by it. No one would complain, and he has the power to do it. Why wouldn't he do it?
It's a good question. If we get Rob on, we got a lot of questions to ask Rob. Spring into gear at Bay Ridge Honda. You're a good.
Dynamic air suspension. All-wheel steering, configurable terrain response, effortless in the extreme.
Hey, Mr. Poacher.
Yeah?
Tired already? Here, have a Red Bull.
And then?
Then run faster.
Oh.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Just have to work harder, okay? No, I do not do it. My name is O'Neil Trinidad, and I want to live.
everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too. That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer. But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that.
This reminds me of my bike.
The wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way?
Happy birthday, Grandma! Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Brought my +1. Jamie.
For years, one company has battled to deliver business products the next day with no freight charges. Now, WB Mason, with their famous fleet of trucks and drivers, faces their biggest challenge, rescuing shipping and packaging buyers from expensive freight charges. That's right. Now, boxes, stretch film, and packaging tape are delivered the very next day at amazingly low prices. So, who do you call for fast delivery and no expensive freight charges? Who but WB Mason?
The final stone of the championship.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary.
Rogers, this is looking good.
We believe every moment in sports should be epic. Is that curling? No.
This morning's news, curling fever has taken over the world.
So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer, choose the right law firm by asking, what are your highest verdicts? What experience do you have? How many lawyers are on staff? How many clients have you represented? Speak to Whites and Luxembourg at 800-LAW-6789 to get unmatched answers. It's the biggest financial decision of your life. Call 800-LAW-6789 or visit mesowin.com.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4, or Subaru Forester, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Lease an all-wheel drive Tucson for $229 a month, or get 3.79% APR, or up to $2,500 bonus cash. Hurry, offers end soon.
Allergies? With Allegra, they won't stop me. Nothing beats Allegra. It's the fastest, non-drowsy 24-hour allergy relief. Live your greatness.
New season, new reasons to say yes.
Wow! Aaron Judge crushes one.
Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to ENN. Ray Rowe.
On TV.
It's brought to you tonight by Security Dodge. Go see Michelle Scalisi and
Come get some!
Yeah!
I'd like to start off tonight's ENN by saying good evening to Michael and myself. I haven't texted him in some time.
Well, don't.
Hasn't written me back, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
Do you think Michael got to him and said, don't respond to Peter?
It's possible.
I didn't. You know what, though, Don? Terrific idea.
And good evening to Michael.
I'm no Hank.
And to Don.
I can't fake laugh. If I find it funny, I'll laugh. You've seen me. I'll turn red like a goal was scored.
I've seen you fake laugh, though. Sure.
He's a phony.
Yeah, I'm going to go,
well, no, not in that. It's not the same. We'll get to that. Good evening to Omar and Michael.
That game was closed because of Alex Spelstra. Was the reason that his first one. Okay.
Okay.
Who is that, Omar?
Alex Spelstra.
If you insist on names being said correctly.
Who is Eric Spelsbra is the question. And also, Omar, what else?
The misconception about Alex Spelstra.
Now, is that my mic's off? So my mic was off, Michael, because I was taking a drink of my Starbucks, and I don't want the ice to bother you. Right?
Bother me? How about our listeners? Forget about me.
Do they really care? I know it's you who's going to go, what the hell was that?
First of all, I wouldn't curse on the air.
Curse. Sometimes I just want to choke you out, man. But if you listen close, with my mic off, I just can't help but respond.
The misconception about...
Oh, that's what it is? So I push the button and you hear it through...
Oh, that's you could.
That's me saying it to the talk back. Wow.
The misconception about.
Let's say good evening to the very, very troubled Dave Rothenberg.
I went into a moment where I lost my you name it, I lost it.
Okay, and what did you say to him?
Can you move your fat ass up to the net, please?
This is a total stranger. He's playing pickleball.
Well, and by the way, I mean, was this guy larger than Dave? Dave's not a small man. He's not Twiggy. How dare he? I mean, Michael, that's insane behavior.
I'm sure he had his reasons. I support Dave.
What is going on here? This is not something I ever expected.
I don't know the man's name, but I support him.
Can you believe that was even said?
I love Dave.
Listen,
I do too.
I see your mom naked, and I'm like, okay.
Woo-hoo, over here. The man is an absolute psychopath. And you know that. I know that. The people know that.
That's what makes him a great radio host.
But I may have to go see this man's attempt at playing pickleball.
Will you heckle if you're there?
No, but I am curious. Like, Dave fancies himself to be an athlete.
And we saw him play softball. We saw him play softball.
Well, that's the thing. He can't throw.
And that competition that you had at the Beach Bash years ago, remember when we lifted you off the ground?
Yeah, I got smashed in the face.
Yeah. Well, that
was a pillow fight. I mean, you won that easily.
I beat him in the competitions. I believe there was basketball, shooting. It was basketball.
They're throwing a football, right?
Well, I beat him that day. Was throwing the football through a target. Then we did receiving the football.
And then there was a basketball game at Michael's barbecue.
House. Yeah,
you humiliated him at every turn.
Did I lose any?
No. Like the 27 Yankees when you play against them.
I know I beat him in the throwing and catching. Now, this is not appropriate to say, especially given the conversation of the show we've had today. But I was referring to, we were talking about women's sports, and sexism came up, and so this shouldn't be mentioned. But you know what? It's an indication of where things were as a society. But remember, it was Saturday Night Live. Do you remember the classic and now deeply offensive sketch, the run, throw, and catch like a girl Olympics?
Oh, right.
With John Belushi?
Yeah.
So the wording that they use to describe that is inappropriate. But if you were to go back and watch what the athleticism looked like, it's a Dave simulation.
Why are you picking on Dave? Why are you starting to fight with Dave?
Listen, he's got the form.
Those were huge fat people.
I mean, this is, first of all, what are you worried about? Because this man's attacking people in the street like a maniac.
Yeah, these are total strangers, Michael.
He cursed and taunted a stranger, Michael.
What if the guy just decided to take his pickleball racket, smash him in the face?
Well, I mean,
how would you feel then?
That's the risk he's taking. Remember when Dave was a young man, he smashed his tennis racket over a competitor's head.
Well, never forget. No, that was the net, not their head.
No, I thought he hit the guy.
I think he hit the guy, Peter.
No, he couldn't.
Yes.
Then
he was
then
suspended.
Are we sure as a station we even want to do this event? Should this be called off?
Well, first of all, he's going to be torn. Amani Toomer is a giant. He's not going to hit.
Great point.
He's not going to hit
Literally.
Amani. And if he hit Anita could kick his butt.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's a fight, Dave's dead.
I smashed the treadmill through the blind, through the window.
They would lose a fight to everybody participating in that, including whoever the radio engineer is.
That's not nice. All right.
Johnny Damon was a mangy mess. Why do we have to go to that?
Mangy?
A mangy, whatever it is.
Why did that get played?
I missed it. I just missed it.
Yeah, you're going to miss something. Your teeth.
Oh, by the way, go to my Twitter. I retweeted the game misconduct bracket challenge for the NHL playoffs, participate.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Because the winner, I'm going to buy an authentic jersey of their liking for whoever wins out of my own pocket.
You want to see the matter?
I'm buying listeners.
I like what you're doing.
So if you're a Canuck fan and you just you want a Quinn Hughes jersey, bang. A little 43 action, a little Huggis in the back.
Can you get Huggis?
I could do it.
He could do it all. You know what I mean?
Because I want people to have fun. You got to play for something, right? You can't sit there and go, join the bracket challenge and show off to your friends that you know more. No, authentic jersey, bang, sent to your house.
That's like $300, right?
You bet your ass it is.
Why is everybody cursing?
You want to see the matter?
This is cursing.
Those words are curse words.
The H is H really a curse?
Yes.
It's the definition of curse, Jace. It's you can say it on television, you can say it on radio, you can say it everywhere. It's got to be curse,
I'm
Jace.
offended.
Yeah, hopefully Mushnick's not listening.
Oh, by the way, we have to wait for Mushnick's column.
Oh, tonight.
Yeah.
Is it tonight?
You know what?
How do you even know that?
I may be counting down tonight. I'm just going to sit there refreshing the page.
like you're trying to wait for tickets to go on sale.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep waiting. Where's Mushnick? Where's Mushnick? I got to see.
So let's get you think he's going to hammer him. I think he is.
So the conversation earlier in the week, in case you missed it, was that our beloved John Sterling has called it a career. And as many of you may or may not know, most of you may not know, because who reads Phil Mushnick these days?
I do.
But that's just to see if he rips you. But he has always hammered John Sterling. Not a fan, doesn't appreciate him, essentially thinks Sterling is a hack. So now that John Sterling is ending his illustrious career, the question is, will Mushnick have the cojones, the gall, unmitigated some would say, to go after Sterling in his column tonight/tomorrow? Or is he a gutless puke and tries to clean it up as the legend goes off into that good night?
He won't. He's not a gutless puke. He's quite the opposite, and I think he will double down.
But that can't make you feel good either. This is lose-lose for you, Mike.
What do you mean?
Well, if he doubles down, it's going to upset you to see on his way out the door Sterling getting attacked in your former beloved newspaper. And if he doesn't do it, then you have to be disgusted that he was so weak.
I don't doubt for a second that it will be a prominent part of the column.
Is going to be bashing. So here's what about this?
And you know what? I won't feel bad because John's going to get a huge ovation on Saturday and showered with love and affection. So he
won't
wins.
matter, is what you're saying.
He wins.
Now, Don, here's my thought though. I could see Phil hedging.
No, he's not a hedger.
I could see him, though, hedging in this, where he talks about how long his career has been and finds something nice to say and then follows it up by killing him.
Have you ever read him?
He's not. He's not that way. He's gonna triple down.
Like celebrating.
No, he's gonna repeat what he's always said. He's going to talk about he didn't tell you where pitches were. He never gave the score. It was all about him. If you want to read a great column, Peter, I know you don't like to read, but go to SI.com.
I've said that.
And Tom Verducci.
The great.
He is great. I think he's one of America's great sports writers. He writes a column, an appreciation of John Sterling, and talk about pitch perfect. He gets it. How John is beloved. Read it. Everybody go there. Go to SI.com and read Tom Verducci's column. It is a love letter to John Sterling.
And that will not be the case later tonight.
You don't expect that?
I don't know if it'll be harsh, but I think it'll be on brand.
Let's hear
you
from...
promised a public reading tomorrow on the show, Peter.
Oh, I'm doing it.
Right.
No matter what it is, we will be reading it. This is going to be get the books ready because the ratings are going to go through the roof. You think nobody reads Phil Mushnick's column? Wait till someone reads it on the air, Don. You'll hear the collective radios go silent. But damn it, I'm going through with it.
It's like cleansing the system.
Let's go.
Now, Phil, I am not saying that no one reads your column.
You know,
Peter
stop.
is.
You're a gutless puke.
I am.
Right?
I admit I'm a gutless puke.
Here's my question, though. What are you scared of? He's ripped you 1,000 times. Does it matter if it's 1,001?
It doesn't matter.
It hurts every time.
Really?
Yes.
You know what, though?
This conception about Alex Feltzbrough.
Let's hear from OG Anunoby. The Knicks' secret weapon, waxing poetic on Jalen Brunson's fantastic season.
I mean, I've always known Jalen was really good. In high school, was really good. In college, when he was with the Mavericks, was really good. So it's really not a surprise. He's always been really good. It's just, I guess, just up in the volume, I guess, for him. But yeah, he's always been a great player, so none of it's a surprise to me.
OG Anunoby also very excited to play his first playoff game as a New York Knickerbocker.
Oh, excited. You know, I've heard everyone tells me about how crazy it's going to be. And I used to watch their games like growing up, and then even the last couple of years been watching their home games. So it's been crazy. So it'll be pretty cool to experience it firsthand.
I'm very excited to see what this basketball team does. Now, how much do you think, Michael, the air will get sucked out of the building if they have a rough outing in game one?
Well, that's how fans are. Of course it gets sucked out of the building. And then we'll have to do therapy on Monday.
But like, you have to be. It's such an interesting matchup because you really do not know who this Sixer team is. Can I tell you guys the truth? It's considering the Knicks had a good year. Obviously, if they were talking about ending up in the 8th seed, I'd have a different conversation. But considering they were going to be a top 3 seed, this was the worst case scenario, in my opinion. And I don't doubt them. I think they will win this series.
I think the Heat with Jimmy Butler was the worst scenario.
And I hear you. It's a fair argument, Michael, but Jimmy Butler is out.
Yep.
Embiid is at least playing. If Embiid is 100%, and you can't tell if he was last night. By the way, that was a pretty thrilling playing game till pretty late.
Yeah.
But if Embiid is 100%, he's one of the most intimidating players to have to deal with in this league. You almost have to say, Michael, just assume he's going to get his 40 points.
Yeah, I mean, and then you stop everybody else.
And then you worry about Maxey, you worry about everyone else, and you let Embiid do what he does.
It's like what Connecticut did with Edie. Let Edie get his points.
You know, you could try to use your 20 fouls on Embiid, but the difference, the thing that makes Embiid, the reason I love him, Michael, throw all the fouls you want at Embiid, he shoots 88% from the line.
Right.
So you can
he's a foul seeker.
He loves it.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's hear from Isaiah Hartenstein on how the Knicks will deal with the Embiid situation.
I mean, it's a mixture of things. Keeping your hands back, knowing at the end of the day it's an MVP, so he's going to get some calls that maybe don't go in your favor. But at the end of the day, it's really just doing your job, playing team defense, and again, trying to don't really put your hands in because he's going to try to get it in him. But also, it's smart from him. I mean, why not use it? I'm not saying it's bad. If he's smart enough to do it, and we keep doing it, then that's kind of on us.
Isaiah taking on the personality of the head coach in this specific situation.
Sounded like him.
I could. That I'm not going to say that. If anybody notices, by the way, Sleepy Tom Bobo is gone away. I was told at some point that I shouldn't maybe do Sleepy Tom Bobos all the time. Yeah, I stopped
taking a side.
I wasn't taking a side, but I was told maybe not. Although in retrospect, I got guys. Question for you: we have any big Knicks guests coming on leading up to the playoffs?
Mike Breen tomorrow at 5.
Was that and Mike Breen? We know him though well, right?
We what?
We know him pretty well, though.
Yeah.
Don't we? Feel like we could get him whenever we ask him because he's your best friend.
Well, the Knicks don't provide anybody.
That was where I was going. So what do we worry about?
Before or after the Sleepy Tom Bobo?
That's what I'm saying.
Point.
Whether it was before Sleepy Tom, after Sleepy Tom, we don't get Tom, we don't get Bobo, we don't get anybody.
Right.
So what are we worried about?
You know, Noah didn't reprimand his wife if she spilled water over the ark, saying you're just adding to this flood.
You're unbelievable.
And he said it in such a methodical, you're just adding to this flood, honey.
Yeah.
You're making matters worse now.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, don't even get me started on oh no, the dog pooped over there. Well, guess what? We have 2 elephants, we got 2 giraffes, we got 2...
That ark was a mess.
Yeah, you can't worry about the dog pooping when you've got elephant dung to clean up.
Can you imagine
know what I mean?
the stink on that ark?
Oh, my God. It was a nightmare situation.
But it was a beautiful thing for them to do.
People were complaining about Firefest a couple years ago. Imagine being stuck on Noah's Ark. You guys want to hear from Caitlin Clark?
Sure.
From Noah's Ark to Caitlin Clark.
Rhymes.
Asked a strange question at her Fever presser.
Caitlin, Greg Doyle, Indy Star. Real quick, let me do this.
You like that?
I like that you're here. I like that you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so.
Okay, well, let's start doing it to me, and we'll be able to get along just fine.
Cornball.
I know what he was trying to do, and boy, did it play bad.
He apologized.
He apologized?
Yes, he did.
For just being
Someone should have played him out. So he was trying to just say, as a guy who's covering the Fever, like, this is so cool and exciting that you're here, I assume, right?
I guess.
Right, and it came out very clunky, and he's got to be embarrassed. He comes off looking terrible.
Cornball.
And it's moving around everywhere.
You know, do you get the sense he's hitting on her?
That's how it, I know that can't, I mean, listen, I don't know the man from Adam, or Noah, for that matter. But I can't imagine that's what he's doing. I have to imagine it's, because let's be real. Your beat, one of your beats, let's say, and I don't know, maybe they just got this beat and he's already a big-time reporter, in which case it's weird.
He's been there forever.
So he's done other big things.
Yeah.
So he covers the Pacers.
Yes.
But even still, maybe
sure he
it's
covered Peyton Manning.
Well, then it gets weird.
Andrew Luck. Yeah, Andrew Luck.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
So if he's covered all, it's not like, thank you for finally giving me something to cover.
Right.
You've covered Super Bowls. You've covered.
Well, and he's a big columnist. He's covering Tyrese Halliburton. Like, there's a lot. There's things going on there.
I think it's a case of trying to be a little too cool.
And if he's trying to hit on her, he's got no game.
It's awk.
Caitlin, Greg Doyle, Indy Star. Real quick, let me do this.
You like that?
I like that you're here. I like that you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so.
Okay, well, let's start doing it to me, and we'll be able to get along just fine.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy. You guys, we haven't talked a lot about Joe Schoen talking. Joe Schoen of your New York Football Giants asked, are teams at the top of the draft willing to trade, perhaps?
Yeah, it's hard to say. And then, two, being in the division, that's a difficult one. You know, typically if, you're talking in the top 10 of the draft, trading with somebody within the division. So otherwise, I don't think anybody's ready to move right now. I know, people are listening, which we'll all do that from, teams behind us or moving up. I think those exploratory talks and conversations will happen here shortly. We just finished up 30 visits, and as you're well aware, some other teams still had some large groups, small groups, whatever it may be. So you're still gathering information. We can still have Zooms with players for, up until Wednesday. So, I think teams are still getting to know some of these prospects or any loose ends that they need to tie up before the draft. So I think, again, those conversations will happen over the next, I would say, 48 to 72 hours. Those will start happening. You'll get a feel for, who's open to move.
From the people I talk to, they're either going to stay at 6, trade up to 4, trade down later in the first round, take a quarterback, possibly not.
That's Michael. This is very exciting. We're being joined by Marco Livero. Marco, that's about the Giants. Anything you can tell us about what the Jets are thinking?
Jets are thinking possibly offensive line, maybe a receiver, maybe trading up or down.
Well, I got to ask then, Marco, because we don't get a lot of draft experts on the show. My Washington Commanders picking 2 overall. What are you sensing?
I think it's an absolute lock. They will make a selection.
And finally, the New England Patriots, maybe looking for a quarterback.
I think they're going to try to rebuild, but then possibly take a quarterback, maybe free agency, maybe be late with the pick and select 4th.
That'll do it for Marco Livera and ENN, brought to you by Security Dodge. Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com during their Dodge Power Shot Days Jeep Celebration event and Ram Truck Month. Michael didn't seem amused by it, Don, but I enjoyed it.
I loved it.
Because the point is, for people who may not get the joke, because not everyone's sharp, is that all of the draft conversation is nothing. It's literally bumbling nothing. Like, from the biggest expert to the absolute biggest jabroni, it's all just like this. I've heard that every quarterback's going to Washington. I've heard that every quarterback could go to it's everywhere. It's Buckus, Michael. You hear us?
I hear you. And also, you're going to hear Henrik Lundqvist tomorrow at 4:45. Mike Green at 5. We're going to bring you into the weekend. It's going to be great. Peter's got something to tell you, then Dan Gross after that.
That's a wrap on the show for today. For all of us here on the Michael Kay Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Dynamic air suspension, all-wheel steering, configurable terrain response, effortless in the extreme.
Hurry up, Agent. Only 20 seconds left.
But which wire should I cut? The red or the blue or the...
Well, it's usually always the blue one.
But there is also a green one and a yellow one.
Oh, there. Red Bull. Behind you. Drink it now.
Of course. Too late.
No Red Bull, no wings. Inspire you to start fresh too, behind the wheel of a new Ford SUV, featuring power that invigorates, capability to venture way off the grid, and tech that helps you forge a new path. It's a big world. Get out there and experience it. Now, returning lessees can get an Explorer for just $369 a month for 36 months, only at your local Ford stores.
Help save money on energy costs, plus help prevent costly breakdowns during the hottest months of the year by scheduling your $69 air conditioning tune-up now with A.J. Perry. Call 844-668-7555 to keep your family cool all summer long.
Does it again? We're dogs out here. There was barking in the dugout.
Half of young adults are at risk of hearing damage from loud sounds. So why is this happening? We know not to bake in the sun for hours and to get our eyes checked regularly. We buckle up to save lives. And we know that smoking kills. So do poor diet choices and poor life choices. But why are we so reckless with our hearing? We take hearing for granted. Hearing damage from loud sounds is permanent, but preventable. We take common sense steps for our health every day. Let's make hearing part of it. Wear earplugs. Turn it down. Give your ears a rest. Love your ears. Learn more at hearinghealthfoundation.org. Keep listening.
On FanDuel Casino, you can play hundreds of games, like Buffalo, and get up to $1,000 back in casino bonus on any first-day net loss. Sign up for FanDuel Casino now.
I'm former Major League pitcher Andy Pettitte. I teamed up with Tunnel to Towers after seeing their life-changing work with military and first responder families. Now we're expanding our mission to help veterans struggling with homelessness. We want to help them rebuild their lives not only by giving them a home, but by providing the services they need. Please join me in donating at t2t.org.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay, and how fast you can get started.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. and command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
On FanDuel Casino, new players get up to $1,000 back and 200 bonus spins for the #1 feeling, winning. Ranking higher than the 34th best feeling, successfully avoiding your neighbor.
Your attention, please. You're watching Yes.
Everybody, great to have you with us on the latest Forbes Sports Money. Bob Lorenz along with Michael Ozanian of Forbes Media. Ozzy, we got trouble in paradise. Did you know about this?
I do.
You
I
knew
do.
about
Things
it?
not all good in Minnesota.
Because he wrote about it. It involves the Timberwolves and the sale that was supposed to happen over the course of the past 3 years between the current owner, Glenn Taylor, and the ownership group of Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez. And according to Taylor, the deal is off. What's going on?
Yeah, according to Taylor, the Lowry A-Rod group did not make the third payment, which would have given them control of the Minnesota Timberwolves in time. The Lowry A-Rod group disputes that. It looks like we may be going to arbitration. It would have been for a sale of $1.5 billion.
And that was $1.5 billion 3 years ago when the first payment was made, right? So the team has more value now, according to Forbes, yes?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces here, but, you know, from Taylor's perspective, I could see why he would not want this deal to go through, because at that time, as you just mentioned, the Timberwolves were valued at $1.5 billion. There are some people that today will say that team could go for $3 billion. I mean, last year, the Charlotte Hornets, which I would say probably are not as valuable as the Timberwolves, went for $3 billion.
Does it seem like there could be an easy resolution? It's as if Taylor is saying, you didn't meet a deadline, the deal's off. But they say, wait a minute, we're disputing that because we did meet a certain deadline. We were just waiting for NBA approval.
Yeah, the word easy, Bob, I don't think is going to be part of how this is going to be resolved. It seems to have gotten personal at this point because there were a couple of deadline extensions that were given to the group. So it seemed like this process was going to get to the point where the Lowry A-Rod group was going to take control. I mean, if you're sitting there now, not that you and I are cynical, but I'm sitting there going, geez, from Taylor's perspective, if this were not to go to completion, what a deal, because that $1.5 billion was a full control valuation. So he's pocketed over $500 million from the Lowry A-Rod group, yet Lowry and A-Rod are just limited partners. They have no say.
So they're just sitting there out $500 million essentially, and Taylor's still running the team.
Absolutely.
And is, according to him, going to run the team for the foreseeable future. Now, here's one of the hooks, and you wrote about this, that according to some bankers, when the team was up for sale a few years ago, he had guys that could write the full check, take over total ownership of the team. He didn't go that route.
That's why I am very cynical about Taylor's intention to sell control from the get-go, because if I were selling a team and somebody was offering me over $1.5 billion cash, right, check right there, why would I want to delay it over 3 years and get paid, you know, in various parts? I would have taken it. So me personally, I have no proof of this. I suspect that Taylor may have thought, gee, if there is trouble down the line for the Lowry and A-Rod group meeting the deadlines for payment, I'm going to pocket this money and retain control.
Well, that's where he stands right now. Now, there is the possibility, according to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, that in one of the upcoming rights deals, or the current one that's being negotiated, they could package the NBA and the WNBA, and the Minnesota Lynx were part of this sale of the Timberwolves. It was both teams. So could that have had an impact, like looking down the line saying, well, now the Lynx are going to have more value because they might be part of a package deal?
I think you're absolutely right, Bob. I think this goes to your point earlier, which is the value of the team has gone up over time since this was first done in 2021. So if you're going to package the WNBA with the NBA's next deal, because right now the NBA averages about $2.7 billion a year, the WNBA about $60 million. If you package the two and you're going to get this huge, maybe twofold increase, the value of the Lynx is going to go up a lot too. And if and when the Timberwolves are sold, the Lynx are going to be sold with them. So this is just an added factor in the valuation of the Timberwolves in the future.
And one other interesting hook is that over the course of the past few years, while this sale has been ongoing, the Timberwolves have become a very good team. They go into this year's playoffs in the West as the number 3 seed.
And you're a good team, and you start going into the playoffs, you're talking more ticket revenue, and also, I think more importantly, you start to get some of those corporate sponsorship. And the corporate sponsors are generally multi-year deals. That's all a big boost for the team's value.
Do you want to just step in and resolve it, or are you just going to let,
this one play out?
Just going to sit this one out?
I think this one could get ugly.
All right. We got to take our first break here on Forbes Sports Money, but when we get back, we'll be joined by our good friend Mark Gannis to discuss the possible influx of private equity money in the NFL. Stick around. This is Forbes Sports Money.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Playing in Yankee Stadium is the best thing that could ever happen to a ball player.
It's a huge honor to put this uniform on.
World champions, team of the decade.
There it goes! The Yankees are back on top.
This is the Yankees being the Yankees.
Related. So. Oh, that is a vibrating pain.
Welcome back to Forbes Sports Money. I'm Bob Lorenz. Private equity money has always been a hot topic on this show. Major League Baseball and the NBA have allowed private equity investors, and now the NFL could possibly involve private equity money in its league. Recently, Ozzy sat down with our good friend and NFL expert Mark Gannis to break it all down.
All right, you're our NFL insider. My reading is the NFL is getting closer and closer to moving towards allowing private equity money to invest in NFL teams. What's your take?
Yeah, there's a lot of effort and momentum towards a plan which will be really NFL bespoke for the NFL that could allow private equity to be able to invest in teams at on a minority basis, a pretty small basis in some cases, so that private equity would be able to then be able to expose itself to what really is the best sports league on the planet, and the one that has the greatest economics. So it is getting closer. It's not a done deal by any stretch of the imagination, but the special committee that Roger Goodell set up has been working very hard for the last 6 or 7 months, and they're getting closer.
Major League Baseball was the first North American sports league to allow private equity money. That was in 2019. Since then, the NBA and the other leagues have come on board, not the NFL yet. Why is it taking the NFL so long?
Well, a number of reasons. First, there hasn't been a need in the NFL the way there has been in some of the other sports leagues to have fresh capital come in. Remember that in some cases, you had post-COVID difficulty with a lot of losses. So a number of doors were opened by some of the other sports leagues that had not been opened before out of need. Baseball has had certain issues for a longer period of time, primarily related to the fact that it does not have a labor deal where the players get a percentage of the revenues like the NBA or the NFL, for example, both have. So there have been specific issues in baseball there. And then you had the COVID problems that occurred that required additional capital, but the leagues were hesitant to allow there to be much greater long-term debt, because that could have an impact on other activities, the more debt that the leagues allow layered onto the teams. So with a host of restrictions and limitations, they allowed, some of these other leagues allowed private equity to come in. The NFL didn't have that same need. They did lose money, but because the NFL during COVID, but because the NFL is so well managed and is on such a trajectory, they could handle that internally. And because they have a collective bargaining agreement with the players that allowed there to be the losses spread out over a number of years in terms of the salary cap, they did not have the same need. Now we're in a situation where we have 3, 4, 5 years of activity of private equity in the sports industry. The NFL does have certain issues it needs to address. They're not dire issues, and they by no means reflect the interests of the majority of teams, but there are a handful of teams that have certain needs where capital, new capital that's not debt, could be appropriate. And so Roger set up a special committee to look into that and to see what kinds of restrictions would best fit the NFL.
What do you think the impact on team values would be if they allow private equity money to be invested in the NFL? You know, what type of, let's say, queue is there of private equity money eager to invest in the NFL?
There's a very strong line of very well qualified firms and family offices, individuals, sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, endowments that would very much like to be exposed to the NFL and invest in the NFL as the preeminent party in the sports asset class that has been developed. So there's a really strong level of interest in coming in. Now, how that affects valuations, whenever you have a new source of institutional capital, very desirous of coming in, it always increases valuations, whatever the industry might be. And so that will happen. But I will also tell you, Michael, that's not the focus. The focus is not just getting valuations raised. Most of these owners really are not going to be selling, and their families aren't going to be selling for a long time as well. What they are looking at is this an efficient source of capital for uses that benefit the league and its growth long term, like the capital for stadiums, by way of example. That certainly is something that is looked at, because that will help the league grow. Can the funds be used for other league growth in media and broadcasting, in international growth? So when we think of the use of the institutional capital in the NFL, there are certain specific ownership issues that individual teams and team owners may have. But the focus is, how can that be used to grow the league, not just grow the valuations?
Mark Annis, the NFL insider for Forbes Sports Money. Thank you so much for coming on, Mark. And as this moves towards the goalposts, we look forward to having you on again.
Thank you, Michael. It's always my pleasure.
Coming up, we go inside the college game as Ozzy sits down with media consultant Patrick Crakes to discuss college football's new media rights deal with ESPN. Don't go anywhere. This is Forbes Sports Money.
New season, new reasons to say yes.
This is star power.
Wow.
Cole dials it up. What a home run for Soto. Aaron Judge crushes one.
Get all the Yankees action. The Yes app.
Dupixent helps you do more with less asthma and can help you breathe better in as little as 2 weeks. Dupixent is an add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma that's not for sudden breathing problems. Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe. Get help right away if you have rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, tingling or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor about new or worsening joint aches and pain or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Ask your specialist about Dupixent.
This is Tonal. Strength training powered by AI. So while you get stronger, Tonal gets smarter. Every rep analyzed. Your workout optimized. This is personal. This is tonal.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
Welcome back once again to Forbes Sports Money. Ever since college football started using a playoff system to crown the national champion in 2015, ESPN has been its media rights home. And thanks to a new deal, the worldwide leader will continue its coverage of the college football playoff through the 2031-2032 season. Mike Lozanian recently sat down with media consultant Patrick Crakes of Crakes Media to discuss this new deal.
So a couple of big college sports TV deals, both involving ESPN. So let's kick it off with the college football playoff deal. It's being reported as being over $7 billion. And this deal is going to start in 2026. And I think on an annualized basis is roughly double the current TV deal. Big picture, how are you sizing up this deal?
Well, I think it's a great deal for ESPN and the CFP. It's not what the CFP was looking for. Some peculiarities about this bid show what's going on in the marketplace, I think. If you go back a year and a half ago, we were told by top people, Mike, that everybody wanted to be a part of this, from the Lifetime channel to Amazon, right? And everyone was going to put in a big bid, and everyone was going to be a big auction, and it really wasn't. For me, the biggest story was that nobody put in a money bid except ESPN. So that was completely counter narrative, which, we got a lot of that going around here the past half decade. And everyone was interested in exploring it, but nobody was really interested to commit capital. That kind of shows you where the marketplace is. I think all of the media distributors, whether it's an Apple or an Amazon or established one like a Fox or ESPN or a CBS or NBC, are very carefully thinking about what they're going to invest in. And they are definitely going to invest in tier one properties, but not every tier one property works in their portfolio the way they want it to. If you're Amazon, you're going to spend a lot of money for this. You're only getting a handful of games over a small window, most of the most important games post-Christmas. Does that really fit into your strategy? And I think what's absent in the marketplace is thinking through the impact of the decline of the pay TV bundle, the continued challenges on the streaming side, and how that's forcing the established players to prioritize what they want to invest in. They want to invest in the biggest and best stuff that actually optimizes what they already have. So in this case, because ESPN is the #1 college sports provider in America and the #1 investor in college football, this made the most sense for them, both on a basis where they could take their existing business plans with distributors and sponsors and extend it out, to also everything from their investment in things like game day and other ancillary content that surrounds college football. They were the ones that always made the most sense to me to be able to monetize this fully and be able to rationalize paying the CFP at least some number that they wanted.
The other thing, as I understand it, is they may be going to 14 games, which also I think they have the ability to increase the number of teams and the number of games, which I'm assuming, if that's accurate, that would, of course, increase the size of the deal as well.
Yeah, and I think they will go to 14, but the truth of the matter is, when you go over term, the step up, a per game basis, this is not the increase that everyone thought it was. It reminds me a little bit of the deal that the WWE did with Netflix. It's a good deal. It's a great deal. That's a good home for the WWE's for Raw. However, I believe it's Raw. But in the truth of the matter, it was basically a flat deal. And so what people are doing is securing high-level economics consistently on high-quality distributors that are going to stabilize their business model as we go through the next 5 years, which I think are going to be a challenging restructuring, a reimaging of how we derive economics for all media, not just sports media, where we're still going to be dependent probably at the end of this on some form of the established pay TV bundle. But at some point on the digital side, there has to be at least a break-even proposition. And where that sets us out in the future, Mike, is a big question. Will rights fees increase in the future? It's not clear to me they will. I think they will. I think we'll figure out digital distribution. But as I stand here today, and as I tell my clients, I can't give you a solid route to that. I can give you no route to replacing the natural monopoly economics of the pay TV bundle from 10 years ago, upon which most of our content costs are still predicated.
We're not done with Patrick yet. Coming up on the other side of the break, Patrick and Ozzie discuss the NCAA's new media deal with ESPN and how that can shape everything from women's hoops to Division II and III sports. Stick around. This is Forbes Sports Money.
Dogs out here. There was barking in the dugout.
Purchase a new energy-efficient heating and cooling system from the pros at A.J. Perry, and you could save up to $4,500 through possible tax credits and other discounts. Request your complimentary consultation from A.J. Perry today. Call 844-668-7555 to schedule your appointment.
If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma or asbestos lung cancer, choose the right law firm by asking, what are your highest verdicts? What experience do you have? How many lawyers are on staff? How many clients have you represented? Speak to Weitz & Luxembourg at 800-LAW-6789 to get unmatched answers. It's the biggest financial decision of your life. Call 800-LAW-6789 or visit mesowin.com.
Watch the Yankees Hyundai Sunday Game of the Week, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. It's your journey. Own every mile in a brand new Hyundai. Visit buyhyundai.com today.
Great to have you back once again on Forbes Sports Money. Last segment, Ozzie and Patrick Crakes discussed the new college football playoff media rights deal. Well, now the two dive deeper into college sports media coverage as they break down ESPN's new media deal with the NCAA, covering everything from women's basketball to tennis and wrestling.
Pat, let's shift over to the other deal that ESPN did with the NCAA. This deal is about, as I understand, $115 million a year on average. But in terms of a percentage increase, I think it's more than a threefold increase over the existing deal. And what struck me about this one is it seems like the largest part of this deal, in other words, over half the revenue is sort of allocated towards women's sports from what I've been reading. And, of course, there's been so much happening in women's sports on the business side lately, whether it's been the great ratings for the NCAA women's basketball tournament. We've seen WNBA franchise values increase, the NWSL, the Women's Soccer League, those values have been going up. So does this to you reflect the increase in women's sports, or was it more so much that the last deal, which was a long-term deal, the current deal that's going to be expiring, was way, way undervalued?
So many sports that we see today on television that we take for granted came about because there was a need for quality content to be on. However, these sports were, non-revenue sports as far as TV went in the past. While they were placed into the TV ecosystem to fill up programming holes, they didn't necessarily have apex value or strong value yet. They had never had any value. Now they had some value. The NCAA championship bundle fits into that. And ESPN had real programming holes in the spring. and in the early summer and it was a perfect fit for them. So these events became a priority, and over the past decade, ESPN has consistently invested in them, promoted them. It's not just women's college basketball. The women's college basketball is an extraordinary phenomenon. It's an example of what investment can do with high quality distribution, something that we're struggling with in the new digital era where things are harder to find and everybody seems to have a lower attention span. It doesn't quite work as a content discovery tool as it did in the old system. Stumble across this on a Saturday afternoon in that old bad pay TV bundle, and you give it a few moments and you see the high quality competition, the athletes. So it's not just women's college basketball, which is the best example. It's women's volleyball. It's softball. It's the College World Series. Wrestling is starting to emerge. And so all of that has occurred over the past 10 years, primarily because ESPN made it a priority because they had a programming hole on their various linear networks in the spring and in the early summer. The deal was a recognition of that value to ESPN.
Couple other things here. So from your point of view, so I get it, with the NCAA ESPN deal, that deal, the value of that deal did not increase so much because there was more content, more games available in relation to the college football playoff ESPN deal. This was more of a value proposition for content that ESPN has invested in, and the value of that has become higher over time.
Yeah, what I would say is that with the NCAA championship bundle, we're talking about a successful programming strategy being fully realized, and the programming need remaining the same, and the programming need for other potential bidders not being as high. It wasn't as high 10 or 15 years ago, and it's not as high today. They have different distribution platforms and different needs that they want to invest in. With the college football playoff, that's an example, again, of another successful programming strategy, but a little different in the sense that by adding these 12 to 14 games, ESPN extends out and can over-earn even further with their current distribution and sponsorship partners.
One thing I found interesting, too, about the ESPN NCAA championship deal is they've added Division II and Division III championships.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely those events would have found a high-quality distribution partner like ESPN that can also represent them with the pay TV distributors and future distributors of any type that they might be dealing with without the entire Division I bundle. Right. Remember, ESPN has digital assets that they're trying to work together with their linear assets to create value. They need content, but that's just a logical extension of this programming strategy that probably to them, because they have so many linear networks, a broadcast television network, and high quality digital distribution platforms, they're the ones that need the most content, and this type of content they're already heavily invested in. So it has force multiplier effects with their current sponsors and distributors.
It sure sounds like, based on your great analysis, that we're in for a lot of change for the next few years. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, everybody should just buckle up.
Good phrase for the next few years. Buckle up, everybody. Pat, thanks so much for coming on Forbes Sports Money. Great stuff, as always. We love to have you on, and hope to have you on again soon.
All right, Ozzie, always an interesting conversation with Patrick Crakes. And you guys talked about ratings. And when it comes to the NCAA women's and men's basketball championship game, what did the numbers tell you?
Well, this was the first time ever that the women had higher ratings than the men. Although, to be fair, because you and I are fair guys, across the whole tournament, the men drew an average of 9.9 million viewers versus 2.2 million for the women.
Any deep reasoning as why the women, especially in the championship game, was it the hype? Was it knowing the players?
Just as a fan,
yeah.
You know, what attracts me to the women's game is the stars tend to stay there for all 4 years, you know. So, you know, there's interest in following the star players throughout their careers, where for the men, they tend to leave early to go to the NBA. So, I don't know. I tend to think anecdotally that that's a big reason.
All right, we're going to keep an eye on the ratings next year. We'll see what it's like. That'll do it for this edition of Forbes Sports Money. For Michael Ozanian, I'm Bob Lorenz. We will see you next time. Take care.
Una
Warrior Project has been with me every step of my journey.
Aaron, how you doing, bud?
With experiences that help me realize that I'm not alone.
And specialized programs that give me the tools to train my body and mind.
Now, it's possible for me to get back out there.
To get out of my comfort zone and try new things.
To build and be part of a community that supports other warriors.
It's possible to get the help I need for me and my family.
I got my confidence back. I'm setting goals, and I'm achieving them.
It's possible to feel understood, whether it's day one or 20 years down the road, they've got your back.
And as each warrior's needs evolve, Wounded Warrior Project is adapting to meet them.
Because when we pull together,
It's possible to go further than you ever imagined.
Welcome back to the home of the Premier League champions here on City TV as we get ready to watch all of the action from Manchester City's game against Luton Town at the Etihad. After a 6-goal thriller in the Champions League against Real Madrid, Manchester City must quickly get their feet back on terra firma as they return to the defence of their Premier League title. In the next 7-day period, City will be continuing the defence of all 3 of the trophies they won last year as they face League, European and then Cup fixtures, all in the space of a single week. Against Luton Town today, they will be heavy favourites to take all 3 points in front of a home crowd. They will look to keep up the pressure on Arsenal and Liverpool. At this point in the season, and with so much at stake, every match becomes a must-win fixture for Manchester City as they aim to achieve the near impossible feat of winning back-to-back trebles. Before we hand over to watch all of the action, let's preview this game with all of the team news, build-up and pre-match interviews from the Etihad Stadium.
All up with the in-swinging corner then from the City right, flicked on by the defender, and an easy finish.
Let's get you in the mood for this fixture with all of the facts and figures. It's time for Stat Attack. Of the 18 meetings between the two sides with City playing at home, they've recorded 10 victories and scored 33 goals. Phil Foden has scored 9 times in his last 9 Premier League games. His next goal will be his 50th in the competition, becoming the 10th City player to reach a half-century. Foden has got his second goal. The Blues' biggest win against the Hatters came back in 1992. A David White double included a bizarre second for the striker, which contributed towards a fantastic 4 for City.
Right, well, getting the crossover. Oh, and a second Manchester City goal. Andy Hill, the fullback on target. Midfield battle at the moment. Reed helps it forward. Not sure there's any offside here. Sutton helps it back. This could be a curious goal. It is. Steve Sutton thought there was an offside decision in favour of his team. David White, quick of thought and quick of deed, thought otherwise. He loves to run at the defence, doesn't he? Quinn couldn't get there. This is Adrian Heath arriving. It could be Manchester City's biggest win of the season.
Manchester City are unbeaten in their last 40 home games in all competitions. That's just 2 short of their all-time club record of 42. The City deflected shot goes in. The Blues return to league action after a highly entertaining game in Madrid, which ended in a 3-3 draw. 3 points today could move Pep Guardiola's men top of the Premier League table, albeit for 24 hours. Arsenal and Liverpool play their games later this week. For Rob Edwards' side, a late winner against Bournemouth last week, coupled with recent points deductions for Nottingham Forest and Everton, have brought Luton to the cusp of Premier League survival. With Luton Town expected to field a five-man defence, wing-back Alfie Doherty will provide a threat up and down the flanks. He has so far contributed 8 goal involvements this season, 1 goal scored and 7 assists. The last time these two sides met, City were able to keep pace with those in the hunt for promotion to the First Division. It was back in 1999 with goals from Paul Dickov and Tony Vaughan, wrapping up a comfortable victory.
All up with the in-swinging corner then from the City right, flicked on by the defender, and an easy finish for Tony Vaughan, his first goal of the season, and he was helped by one of the Luton defenders who flicked the corner on.
Pep Guardiola spoke to the media ahead of this return to Premier League action. Going into the game, there was a lot of talk about how the manager might set up for this match, with it being sandwiched between two huge Champions League ties with Real Madrid. And whilst rotation is a factor, Guardiola has a full squad at his disposal, with the returns of Kyle Walker and Nathan Ake. Both of those players are on the bench, as is Phil Foden. Kevin De Bruyne recovers from injury to make his way back into the first 11. Rodri is given a rest after a large accumulation of games, but Erling Haaland remains up top. And there is a welcome return between the sticks for Ederson, substitute in the last 2 games to Stefan Ortega. Let's head over to the mixed zone now, where the cameras are waiting to pick up the pre-match interviews.
You spoke a lot about mental fatigue, and you've done this so many times throughout the years, but what special qualities do you see in your team in this type of situation, in between 2 big matches, 2 big Champions League matches?
Yeah, it's not the first time that we live this situation. That means we are in the final stages many years. It's a fact that the players know it. So it's simple as if you win, we'll be in the title race. If we lose or draw, we'll be over. So, and it's just 1 month. Literally to finish the Premier League and 6, 7 potential FA Cup Finals, Champions League, and yeah, we're going to do everything. Even you are tired, you are fatigued, the mental strength, control everything, and we have to do it.
Jeremy Doku and teammates go into this congested period of the season knowing that there are no easy wins when you face a match every few days. This City side are forced to rotate their lineup of players. Against Luton Town, it will be no different today.
It's a tricky team to play against. You never know with them.
Townsend in a crossing position, should be Ederson's. No, he's not going to get it. And would you believe it?
Of course, we play at home, so it's always to play better. It's always better to play at home, of course.
Trying to get into the penalty area, works a little angle onto Rodri, looks for the 1-2, hits the shot, brilliant goal. Doku 1-2 with Rodri.
But we will be well prepared, and we will try to win this game as well.
They on because Rodri is advancing, and then he lost the ball, and then it's a brilliant goal. Bernardo Silva. But Alvarez is darting forward, and the ball goes across the face of the goal, and Grealish puts it in.
Now it's time to get this Premier League encounter underway. Manchester City host Luton Town at the Etihad Stadium.
New season, new reasons to say yes. Wow. Yes to the ultimate viewing experience.
Aaron Judge crushes one.
Yes to in-game live stats. And earn rewards and win prizes. Get all the Yankees action on the Yes app. Download now.
At Manchester City Football School, both boys and girls can train and develop at a world-class facility.
This course helped me develop my football skills a lot.
I have enjoyed learning to play like an actual Manchester City player.
FanDuel Casino has your chance at the #1 feeling, winning. Winning ranks higher than any other feeling, higher than number 30. Saying, I told you so.
Told you so.
Higher than number 89, the feeling of catching your car keys with one hand. And number 78, thinking it's Friday when it's really Saturday. New players get 200 chances at winning with their first deposit on FanDuel Casino.
It's all about putting in the work. I prepare the same way for the long haul. Tono gives you all those stats to be able to say, how can I continue to get better? And it starts to challenge you, like, okay, you've done this, but now let's challenge you. Let's do this now. It's all about just training your mind, training your body, training your spirit to be as great as you can. Tono, be your strongest.
Been there, done that, messed around. I'm having fun. Don't put me down. I'll never let you.
With Allegra, allergies won't hold me back.
I won't let you.
Allegra starts working 2 times faster than Claritin, and unlike Zyrtec, won't make me drowsy. Nothing beats Allegra. It's the fastest non-drowsy 24-hour allergy relief.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank. Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
If anyone knows the joy of rescuing animals, it's me. Just ask my rescues, who are all very important members of my family. Your life can also be forever changed by adopting a shelter pet. And it's not just about happiness your pet gets from finding a loving home, but that which you'll get from bringing them into your life. The heroes at American Humane have been helping animals for more than 140 years, whether it's rescuing animals caught in disasters, ensuring the safety of animal stars on screen, or protecting our planet's endangered species. They go above and beyond to further their mission and make the world a kinder place for animals. Please consider adopting a shelter pet and support American Humane. You can learn more at AmericanHumane.org.
Sandwiched between Champions League commitments, Manchester City return to the Etihad and return to Premier League action. Today, they take on relegation strugglers Luton Town in this Premier League fixture that could see City go at least temporarily top of the table above Liverpool and Arsenal. Big day for Manchester City. They had an exhausting week with a thriller of a game against Real Madrid in the Spanish capital. It's a homecoming and maybe a dress rehearsal this afternoon as they face the Spanish Giants again next Wednesday. We see Erling Haaland, one of those who retains his place in the starting lineup, but Pep Guardiola draws on rotations to keep his side fresh today. We'll have a look at the Manchester City starting 11 today, beginning with a return for Ederson in goal. Manchester City wearing their traditional sky blue shirts and white shorts this afternoon against a Luton Town side who gave them an early scare in the reverse fixture earlier this season in the Premier League. Manchester City today go with Ederson in goal. Backline is Guardiola, Ruben Dias and Akanji, with Kovacic and Rico Lewis in there somewhere. Kevin De Bruyne returns to the first 11 after a bout of illness in midweek. Julian Alvarez and Jeremy Doku come in, as does Matheus Nunes. Haaland retains his place today. As for Luton Town, it's Kaminski in goal, Doty, Burke, Hashioka and Onyedima in defence. Berry, Barkley and Clark in a three-man midfield. Morris, Townsend and Chong are the three up top. That side chosen by the Luton Town coach, Rob Edwards. Pep Guardiola has also been boosted by the return to the squad of Nathan Ake and Kyle Walker. Both of those players have been out through injury as of late and may get some minutes today as they look to be in contention for that massive Champions League quarter-final second leg coming up in midweek. Return to the first 11 as well for Rico Lewis, but he has been playing regularly in the Premier League over the last few weeks. A variety of positions as well, whether it be in the centre of the midfield in that defensive pivot role alongside Rodri, who is rested today. Will be Kovacic if that is the case this afternoon, or as an out-and-out right back, standing in for Kyle Walker. Manchester City bench today is Ake, Foden, Gomez, Bob, Rodri, Ortega, Grealish, Walker and Bernardo Silva. Goal scorers amongst those substitutes. Bernardo Silva was the player who struck early against Real Madrid from that deftly taken free kick in midweek. Only player left out today as a precautionary measure is John Stones, who had featured in the centre of the defence against Real Madrid. There is an underlying fitness issue for the Englishman. No chances taken today. He will be but a spectator this afternoon. Rob Edwards greets the Manchester City bench. Big task ahead for him in the final run-in, but Luton Town are level on points with Nottingham Forest. Victory today would take them out of the relegation zone. Suspensions and points deductions for Nottingham Forest and Everton have brought them right back into the relegation mix. We're underway here at the Etihad. Josko Gvardiol immediately kicks the ball into touch. Manchester City are going from left to right. Here's Diaz. Had to be very careful in that game against Real Madrid to make no rash challenges. Was targeted frequently by the likes of Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo. Asensio as well, the series of fouls on him to try and put the pressure on the City centre-back. It's a long ball upfield. Ederson back in the team after 5 games out. He's been named on the substitutes bench for the last couple of encounters. That's a great pass from Kevin De Bruyne. Erling Haaland is through, and Erling Haaland is denied by the goalkeeper Kaminski. There's the follow-up. It's Doku. It's deflected. It falls to Haaland. It ricochets in with a good deal of good fortune. Erling Haaland finds the net almost with